Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
And a good evening, hockey friends, and welcome inside Memorial Gardens for tonight's OHL matchup between the North Bay Battalion and the visiting Hamilton Bulldogs. I'm your host, Derek Lindemann, and you are watching Battalion Hockey here on the front line. Today's pregame show is proudly sponsored by...
The pregame show is brought to you by La Herda Imports, family owned and operated since 1995. Visit LaHerdaImports.com for more details.
With only 3 games remaining on the schedule for the North Bay Battalion, a lot on stake tonight here as they host the Hamilton Bulldogs. North Bay Battalion coming in on an 8-game winning streak as they look to clinch their second consecutive Central Division title if they can either pick up a win tonight or a Barrie Colts loss. The Barrie Colts playing the Sudbury Wolves this evening down in Barrie. And Hamilton coming in losers of their last 3, currently sitting in 5th in the Eastern Conference, 2 points behind Peterborough for that 4th playoff spot and a vital spot to earn a home playoff berth. Or if they end up losing out, they could fall as far as 7th. I'm going to welcome back in Ben Sargent. Ben, always great to have you here on the broadcast, and another exciting night here in North Bay as the Central Division could be clinched tonight.
It could be, and it's right now in the Battalion's hands. You talk about the fact that they have 3 games left. They have tonight, Saturday they go and play Niagara, and the next day we finish it off here at home against Mississauga. So as we said, it all comes down to their hands. The magic number is 2, which means either a Battalion win or a Barrie regulation loss will, well, technically, I guess the Battalion could win and lose in overtime, but there's other ways. But for the most part, 2 points is what we're looking at. And at this point, the Battalion should find those 2 points sometime in the next 3 games, you would think, especially going to play Niagara. But the ball's in their court at this point to clinch that division. And right now, if we look at the other side of that, the fact we don't know who they're playing at is the fault of the kind of the 5th, 6th, and 7th spot of the Eastern Conference right now. As you look at Hamilton right now,
or even 4th, Peterborough only just 4th. a couple points up.
Yeah, let's take a quick look. Peterborough right now, as you said, they have 72 points right now, sitting in 4th. Hamilton at 70, and those 3 games that they just lost, that's a big deal when you talk about they're just 2 points away. Right behind them, Mississauga in 6th with 68 points, and Sudbury, you talked about them playing Barrie tonight, 67 points. So Sudbury could find their way up to Hamilton, but here's the thing too. Nobody wants to play Ottawa. Nobody wants to play North Bay. So these
Barrie.
So these bottom 3 spots, everybody's trying to vie for those 4th and 5th spots to try to get by that first spot. Hamilton, only 1 game left when they go play Sudbury later in the week.
Yeah, so a tough route for the Hamilton Bulldogs as they close out the season. The OHL schedule will be concluded this weekend. No playoff dates have been set yet because of that uncertainty of who their opponents will be here. We know North Bay will be hosting games 1 and 2 of the first round. Not sure of when those dates are, but the only thing we are certain is tonight's game, and we'll be back for Sunday's season conclusion as they host the, not Niagara,
Mississauga
yeah, Steelheads. It was right there on the tip of my tongue, but let's see how things suit up tonight for the Hamilton Bulldogs as we take a look at our players to watch as they are brought to you by Mike, the financial advisor.
Players to Watch is brought to you by Mike, the financial advisor. If you have financial questions, he has financial answers. On Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Mike the FA.
And our players to watch for the Bulldogs, Sahil Panwar, coming over this season from the Peterborough Petes in his overage season, his 4th team in the OHL this year as he's having a career year for the Bulldogs. And for the North Bay Battalion, Ty Nelson, you can hear him this week on the Frontline podcast, in which Ben Sargent got to sit down with him in the studio. And Ty Nelson, 72 points on the regular season. That has him tied atop of the single season record for points by defenseman. 1 more point, 3 games to do it, and he can have that all alone, Ben.
Yeah, and I think it would be very shocking if he doesn't, especially when considering the competition they're playing for the rest of it. But let's go back to Hamilton for a second with Panwar, who's that centerman on that top line. And coming over from Peterborough, he had 17 points in 34 games, 10 goals, 7 assists. Comes over to Hamilton, and in 32 games, 19 goals, 30 assists for a total of 49 points. He is projected to be 68 points in 68 games, so a point-per-game player. And you talked about an overage year. We can look at Kyle McDonald, another guy who was in an overage year, not on a contract, not drafted by a team currently. He gets a big contract with Dallas. Panwar's kind of in that same kind of boat, right? So with overage, those years are always super, super important as well. On the other side of that, we have Ty Nelson. We sat down, we had a great conversation with Ty Nelson on the podcast there as we talked about a little bit about everything, him going to Seattle, talking about him being a Kraken. We talked about his tattoos a little bit. We talked a lot of stuff. It was an hour and a half long. I think it was about an hour and 20 minutes by the time we cut out the intros and the outros and stuff. But it was a very long interview. It's a very long episode, but it was really good. He's such a great guest. He's such a well-spoken person considering how young he is. And we're going to have a clip for you later on in the first intermission, and it's going to be great as he talks a little bit about being a Seattle Kraken and what that means, and being a Leafs fan growing up and what that's kind of like. So that's going to be really interesting. But Ty Nelson, what more can you say about the guy? What a big step forward he took this year, defensively especially, and also offensively, as again, he's over a point-per-game player this year, and he's been absolutely incredible.
Yeah, 72 points on the season, 22 goals, 50 assists, 22 goals, already a single season record for most goals in a single season by a North Bay Battalion defenseman. It's the 72 points that we're on watch for tonight, as that is a franchise record that he is about to break. And again, the North Bay Battalion have done some exciting things this year, looking for their 2nd consecutive Central Division title. They've already had a record for most wins in a single season by a team. Dom DiVincentis has already set the record for most wins in a single season by a goaltender, 35 now, leading the way in the OHL category. And what exciting things are happening here at Memorial Gardens. The last 3 games, we've had crowds over 3,000 inside this building. It'll be exciting to see how many are there here tonight. I'm going to expect, again, in that same range, 3,400 to 3,500 fans again tonight to see this broadcast. And you know what? It's exciting times here as playoffs are just on the corner. And this is going to be, I think, the solid same lineup we've seen in the win over Sudbury. Yep. McDonald will still be back in the lineup as they dress the same 12 forwards, 6D that we saw Sunday in the loss, and looking like we'll start the playoffs.
Yeah, and I asked Nelson that before we started the interview, just like what was happening with McDonald, and he was just like, no, he was okay. He just was a little shook up. And at the point, it was 4-1. Obviously, we'll get to that game in a bit. At the time, it made sense, and I think anybody who was watching that game would say it makes sense for McDonald to take the rest of the night off. that kind of backfired, and I'm sure if you ask anybody who was on that team, they would say we played a terrible 15 minutes of hockey. I don't think anybody can say they played well. Definitely was not a Charlie Robertson thing, as he definitely did not look great on the box score, but looked very good during that game, and they kind of left him out to dry a little bit, and I think anybody would admit that. The interesting thing, if we go back to Nelson for a quick second, the interesting thing about Nelson is one of the things that I asked him was, when he goes, the style that he plays, he's very kind of aggressive. He has a lot of room to maneuver out there on the ice. And I was asking, when he goes to the NHL, how does he expect his game to change? And he said he's working with the Kraken. Don't want him to change. The Kraken want him to play the game that he wants to play. And I thought that was very interesting, as a lot of times, sometimes the NHL will want you to conform to the way that they want to play, and they say no. They're giving him all the faith to play the same kind of game, and I think that's going to translate very well for him, and that's going to be super exciting to see how he handles in the NHL. And I honestly do believe that he is going to have at least a shot starting in the Kraken at the start of next year. I do think he's going to be in a Brant Clark situation. Maybe not up until the World Juniors, but I do think that he's going to start the next year as a Seattle Kraken, which unfortunate for Battalion fans, as you always want to hear him, but awesome for him to see him get the crack at the show.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Ty Nelson next year. But like I said, the same forwards, and it was like that 13-minute lapse that they had against the Sudbury Wolves. It was brought up afterwards when we interviewed both head coach Ryan Ulan and Josh Bloom. You can catch both of those interviews on our YouTube channel. Clips are up on TikTok, or Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's all across social media. The front line, the front line is now. And you know what? It's really interesting to see how things just
I don't even know how to use TikTok.
spread across the world. But both of those interviews do include how they talked about how they dealt with that 13-minute lapse and were able to come back and pick up a big 2 points against the Sudbury Wolves. Hamilton in town tonight. Fourth and final meeting of these two teams. Hamilton winning 2 of those 3 matchups. Meanwhile, one of those was an overtime win, but you have that in the back of your mind, knowing that you want to be on level ground if you eventually might have to play them in the playoffs.
Yeah, and to be honest, out of all the 3 Modern teams, I know Peterborough's in there, but if you look at Sudbury, Mississauga, Hamilton as realistically as the people that you might see in that first round, I think Hamilton would be the one I'd be personally more scared of. Yes, they lost a lot of guys at the trade deadline, but they were really hot. If you remember the last time they came into this building, they were on fire. They played such a good game against the Battalion, to a point where the Battalion were up, I believe it was 2-1 in the third period. They ended up giving up the lead, which was very rare. They usually don't do that, even though we saw it on Sunday. And it ended up being a lapse in Nelson and DiVincentis' judgment that it was kind of a turnover rate by the net that ended up being the game-winning goal for Hamilton, and a big upset, because that was the time, right around that mid-January, when they were on a huge winning streak, when they couldn't lose at home, and that kind of started a bit of a slide when they played Hamilton and Mississauga over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, with Hamilton, you kind of didn't know what you were going to expect in the second half of the season. Hamilton was one of those sellers at the trade deadline. They won the OHL championship last year. They knew they were going to be in a rebuild year. They got rid of a lot of their key players at the deadline, and they just didn't know what to expect from them. And led by Panwar, they just really went on a tear, moved up the standings, currently in that 5th spot, could move up into a 4th, and even have home ice advantage in that second round. They're a team full of young competitors that are trying to prove to their coach, Jay McKee, that they deserve more ice time and really auditioning for future spots next year.
And I do think if you look at the top 3, if you look at Barrie and North Bay and Ottawa, as those are the best teams that should make it as deep into the playoffs until they face off against each other, if you look at all the other teams and you say they're kind of like more the middle of the pack bottom teams in the conference, Hamilton, out of all those teams, in my opinion, are probably the most dangerous out of all of those teams. I think they're more dangerous than Peterborough. I think they're better than Mississauga. They're better than Sudbury. For the fact that they don't have those big names in their lineup anymore, that's the team that if I'm the Battalion or if I'm Barrie or if I'm Ottawa, that's the team I'm worried the most about going into this.
And that's why it's so key that the North Bay Battalion can clinch that Central Division. If they do it tonight, I know they do have it that they want to rest a couple key players on the weekend when they play that back-to-back against Niagara and Mississauga. It'll be interesting to know what North Bay does to handle their lineup, trying to get a little bit of their future in the lineup to get a couple of games. I know they got a couple players that they have signed that are anxiously awaiting a chance to get into the lineup, and this could be a good weekend to showcase some of your youth and your future.
Yeah, exactly, and that's such a big thing. And when we talk about playoffs, it's a chance for these guys to get playoff experience, right? Even if you don't go very far, if you can push that first series against Barrie, hopefully you're playing against Peterborough. That's why that 4-5 slot is so attractive to all these teams, because you're playing a lesser team than a Barrie, especially with Barrie getting Brant Clark back. But there's more chance for you to go from that first round into that second round. And really for Hamilton, they're not saying, hey, we're going to go back and win the Eastern Conference again. They're thinking, let's get as deep as possible. Even a 7-game series is better than a 4-game series. They're trying to get as many games as possible and get as much experience in their team as they possibly can.
We're going to get one last look this season of the black and gold uniforms. The Battalion will be wearing those North Bay Centurion black uniforms with the gold trim, really sharp looking, and really looking to clinch a title in those uniforms.
Yeah, well, I always say, and I will always say this, I like the white ones more. I think there's a bit of nostalgia with the black ones, but the white ones I think look sharper. But very interesting though, is Hamilton has the same style. So it kind of looks like Hamilton playing Hamilton in a way, which is kind of funny for all the games for them to play. Very similar to Kingston has the same kind of color scheme as well. But either way, it's going to be such an exciting game. But let's quickly take a look at our goaltenders.
Yeah, let's take a look at our starting goaltenders. Getting the start for the Hamilton Bulldogs, Tristan Melbooth. He's coming in with an extended record of 12-8-2, a 341 goals against average, and an 895 save percentage for the Bulldogs this season. And getting the start for the Battalion, making his 48th appearance of the year for the troop, Dom DiVincentis. His record is 35-9-2, a 238 goals against average, and a 918 save percentage. DiVincentis, to me, is the OHL goaltender of the year, and if not, the MVP for this Battalion team.
100%. He will be. It would be very weird if he's not goaltender of the year this year when you consider what he's done. He's leads in all of the awards. And here's the thing, we talk about playoffs. Goaltending is so critical in the playoffs. We know that, right? So I think DiVincentis is going to be a huge, huge part of this team going forward and going into the playoffs here. I think it wouldn't surprise me. We're probably going to see Charlie on Saturday when they play in Niagara, which kind of makes sense. But really what this game's going to come down, what this playoff's going to come down to is, can Dom continue to stand on his head? This team would not be where they are without DiVincentis in that.
Definitely. And tonight, prior to tonight's game, the North Bay Battalion will be giving out their annual awards that they give out to not only the rookies, but also their most deserving, most accomplished player of the year. And they're actually giving those out currently down at ice level. And we're all set up here in the media booth. When we return, Matt Sukram will join Ben Sargent with all of your first period action here as you are watching Bulldogs Battalion on the front line.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
The most sportsmanlike player, number 26, Kyle Jackson. The All-Range Player of the Year, number 19, Kyle McDonald. The Defenseman of the Year, number 24, Ty Nelson. And the Battalion's most outstanding player, number 31, Tom David Chambers. Congratulations to our individual award winners. Canadore Appreciation Night is brought to you by Canadore Students' Council, comprised of representatives from the student body who develop cohesive on-campus programming and leadership at Canadore College. Joining us tonight are members of the Canadore Students' Council Executive, President Alex Matthew, CSC Vice President of Student Life, Jessica Crook, CSC Vice President of Operations, Madison Sutherland, and the Canadore Panther. We ask Battalion Captain Liam Arnsby and Hamilton's Lawson Short to join our guests at center ice. Fans visit the Battalion retail store and purchase newly arrived Battalion player card sets. Please stand, remove your hats, and join Lisa Benoit for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command, car ton bras sait porter l'épée, il sait porter la croix, ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
And we welcome you to Memorial Gardens for tonight's game between the North Bay Battalion and the Hamilton Bulldogs.
And I hope I don't get confused about which team is which. The Battalion are wearing their black and gold Centurion uniforms, and the Hamilton Bulldogs are in their white with yellow and black trim. But when the puck goes in the corner, I know I'm going to get confused at least the first time or two. But we just saw the Players' Awards ceremony being handed out, and, you know, a couple of probably choices that didn't surprise a lot of people, with Ty Nelson being named the fan favorite, and you know, also the defenseman of the year, Kyle Jackson winning the award for most gentlemanly players. So I think the guys that most people probably would have picked out for those awards ended up with those awards.
I find the goaltender of the year one of those kind of a little bit strange, though. Just considering that usually, like, especially when you have like a starting goalie, there's no way that your backup's going to win that award. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, sometimes teams go through maybe 3 or 4 goaltenders over the course of the year, right? But certainly not if you're a team.
That one made me chuckle because I'm like, it's got to be Charlie.
Certainly not a team that has OHL Finals and Memorial Cup aspirations. You better have a number one guy, and the Battalion certainly do in Dom DiVincentis. He gets the start tonight, and he's in net as the puck is dropped, and we are underway behind the North Bay net. Arnsby has it, feeds it up to Tarasevich. And Tarasevich drops it back to Arnsby, coming down the right wing side, and he dumps it into the Bulldog zone. It goes into the left side corner. Van Steensel takes a whack at it. He's trying to move it down the board. Somebody's stick is snapped in half. Now it's to the left side. The puck comes through the slot. It's off the skates of Arnsby and goes to the corner. Arnsby picks it up there, sends it to the point to Brostowski. His shot comes in, deflected just wide. Van Steensel on the doorstep. Back to the point. It's Winslow coming in, and the shot is stopped into the glove of Malbuff for a first stoppage in play.
Well, even though they're technically the fourth line, which is Arnsby, Van Steetsel, and Tarasevich, they're the energy line. That's what Ty Nelson told us. They are the ones who get things going. So, and if you've noticed, last few games, they've been the ones starting off hockey games. And how does it go? The Battalion get very quick opportunities, and I really like them using them. They even used Arnsby and Tarasevich at the start of the overtime against Sudbury.
2-on-1 the other way, and a nice interception by Hislop to break that up, and it was as if he knew exactly where that pass was going, as they had 2 Bulldogs coming into the attacking zone. Now the puck is inside the Bulldogs' end, and it's the Battalion in control. Petrov flips it into the corner. The Bulldogs get in the way quickly. Lardis trying to get it out. Petrov steals it back. Lardis gets it right back off the boards, and he gets it out to the neutral zone. Carried in by Patrick Thomas across to the right side. The shot coming in from Panwar, and he sends it wide of the net. Now Erdl has it with speed going the other way. Erdl down the right wing over the blue line. Cuts to the middle, takes a shot, and it's off the skates of Shalowski, I believe, in front of the net, but now it's the Bulldogs going the other way as Bujo gets it to Panwar. Pass coming across, and diving across through the slot is Hislop, again putting on a defensive display. Shot comes in from the point towards DiVincentis, and he stops it as well. 18-17 remaining in the first period. No score yet.
Well, you talked about Nick Lardis. He scored a goal in the last time that these two faced off each other here in the Gardens. And if you look at their top points getter, Lardis, 67 games, 63 points. He's played in every single game so far this season. And Panwar, 66 points in 66 games, point per game player. Again, not signed to a team in his overage year. And, you know, just like how Kyle McDonald was a couple of weeks ago, you're always fighting for that contract at this point. It's either that or university hockey.
And DiVincentis freezing the puck right off the draw. Lardis actually has the most goals scored for this team since he came over near the trade deadline. 24 goals and 44 points in 31 games. Yep. If he had produced that over a full season, he would be on a 52-goal pace.
Well, kind of similar to Kyle McDonald, right? Like
That's
when you
right.
look at if he was in the full set, he's already got almost 35 goals.
Here come the Bulldogs towards the net. Shot off the backhand, stopped by DiVincentis. It goes in the corner. Lukin battling for it. It moves down the half boards. It's picked up by the Bulldogs. The shot comes in, and DiVincentis makes the save. In behind the net now to the far side boards. Chasing it out of zone is Nelson, and he shovels it out to Zito, who finds McDonald. Down to Blue coming in. Left wing in front to McDonald, but it's just skipped past his stick. Now it's in the far side corner, picked up there by Moore of the Bulldogs, and he gets it out to the neutral zone. 17:30 to go as the Bulldogs will go offside into the attacking end.
Well, Josh Bloom, huge game against Sudbury. The reason why the Battalion kind of won that after blowing it is he picked up a hat trick on a beautiful shot in overtime to beat Kevin Prasad, who had a heck of a game too, despite, again, giving up 5 goals. But again, if with Bloom, it's all about can he produce the way he produced in November, and we're going to have to see if that guy can get hot. Ooh.
Yeah, he's had a couple of good games lately, including that hat trick in that win over Sudbury. He also scored the 5th goal of the game, so it really could have been a lot worse for the Battalion if not for Josh Bloom. And it's down into the Sudbury zone now. Puck being controlled by the Battalion loosely, but now it's kicked out of the zone. And now they'll have to track it all the way behind their own blue line, but the Bulldogs end up finding it. Noah Nelson of the Bulldogs sends it towards Steven Sentis, and he holds on to it for stoppage and play. 16:53 to go in the first. No score.
Well, one of the things that the Battalion do struggle with is trying to get the puck out of their own zone, especially when it's right at the blue line. They maybe miss the puck with their stick. They maybe give the puck away. That's something that hurts. You look at this, you think about it like a second chance point. Hamilton had a great scoring opportunity on DiVincentis, which could have been subverted if you got the puck out, and that can sometimes lead to some really unnecessary saves that your goaltender has to make and scoring chances that you don't need to give up. And that's something that the Battalion need to clean up, especially when we get into the later rounds of the playoffs, assuming they get there.
Christopoulos has the puck behind the net, goes to the far side corner, still in his own defensive end for the Battalion. Now he gets out to the blue line, turns back, looking for an outlet here. He sends it down the left wing for Van Steensel, who deflects it into the zone. Picking up quickly are the Bulldogs. They send it around to the far side boards. North Bay over there trying to keep the puck in the zone. Van Steensel finds it off a skate, sends it to the right side to Arnsby. Arnsby tries to play it down low to Tarasevich. Tarasevich leaves it in the corner, now behind the net to Arnsby. Arnsby picks it up, sends it to the left side point to Hislop. Across to the right side circle, it skips off the stick of Tarasevich and goes behind the net along the end boards. It's picked up there by the Bulldogs, and they will clear the zone. In the neutral zone, Christopoulos has it for North Bay. He gets it to Arnsby coming in on the left wing side. His shot towards the net is high over the glove of the goaltender Malbuff. Now it's behind the net, still on the end boards. Picked up back there by Van Vliet. And Van Vliet just holding it there and waiting for his team. He's got 3 guys on the right wing side waiting for them to spread out. Looked a little bit like Timbits hockey there for a second, and now it's all sent all the way down the ice. Bulldogs in control in the attacking zone. They're moving it through down the right side boards. They try to play it back to the goal line. Jackson breaks that up, and it's out to the neutral zone. Jackson skating down the left wing. Gets it over the middle into the slot, but it's taken away by the Bulldogs. They've got control of it. Shanowski trying to create some space for himself as he carries it to the end boards. Ertl's there for North Bay. He knocks Shanowski off the puck, and the puck comes to the blue line to Nelson. Nelson sends it back below the goal line for Jackson. Jackson in the corner, now to Ertl behind the net. He tries to center it, blocked by the Bulldogs, and they will carry it out. Cole Brown on the carry, sending it into the North Bay zone with 15 minutes to play. Even Sentis brings it out, but then it's turned over at the half boards. Now in the slot, the shot coming in, and it's a save by the North Bay netminder, coming off the stick of Cole Brown. North Bay giving up a little bit of space there in the offensive zone.
Well, Justin Ertl getting very lucky that he didn't get a hooking penalty behind the Hamilton net, as I don't know, the referee right there didn't call it, but his stick was right in the arms of the Hamilton defender. But again, this is another instance where you have possession in your own zone and you're not able to get it out. DiVincentis puts it up the boards, and all of a sudden the puck kicks out into the high slot, and a great scoring opportunity for Hamilton. These are the small things that when you play these top teams like Ottawa, they have scorers that are going to absolutely burn you in those situations.
Bloom over the blue line into the offensive zone. His pass is stopped by Moore. And Moore for the Bulldogs will come right through the neutral zone and dump it into the North Bay end. Now there's a shot on net, and DiVincentis makes a save. Played behind the net. Rebello sends it to the right side boards. Picked up on the far side by North Bay. Moving it out of the zone is McDonald. Gets it up to Zito at the blue line. Zito drops it back to Winslow. Winslow carries it forward. The defender going right in, takes a shot, and it goes just wide of the net. Winslow throwing some hands, and then he gets some hands thrown at him on the boards. And Moore is going to be sent to the box. Cross-checking will be the call against Moore on Avery Winslow.
And McDonald right there ready to throw some fists if it comes to that. But yeah, not a good cross-check, almost from behind on Winslow, as he was kind of in a bad spot, and allows him to kind of in a bad spot to get hit, and he kind of goes in hard. But overall, I love that. One of the things we saw in that Sudbury game, there were a couple of opportunities where defensemen had some chances on the rush. Christopoulos and I believe it was Brustowski, who was also on the rush, who had some shot opportunities, and they decided to pass the puck instead of shooting it. Or sorry, it was Hislop, not Brustowski. And I love the fact that Winslow is willing to shoot that puck. We've already seen him get a goal that way earlier on in the season here in Memorial Gardens.
There's a shot wide of the net towards Malbuff, and it's sent down the ice. DiVincentis will wait for it.
Again, the power play 8th and 9th in the league now, so it's starting to climb a little bit in the last few weeks of the season, but it all comes down to how well they can set up Ty Nelson in this power play.
And it's Petrov who has it at the blue line, whips it around the boards to the near side. Romani tried to hold there. It trickled off his stick. That allowed Shirk to pick it up for the Bulldogs in the neutral zone and send it right to DiVincentis. And it's held behind the net now by Nelson. He likes to lead this power play rush going forward. Now he drops it back to Petrov. Petrov almost turns it over in the neutral zone. Jackson trying to get it back. Little flip play over to Wakely, but he can't hold on to it. Panwar breaks it all up, and he carries it over to Lardis on the right side boards. Lardis will carry it through the neutral zone. Then he'll send it right back into the Bulldogs' end to kill some more time on this power play, which has less than a minute remaining on it. The Bulldogs still in control of the puck in their own zone. Now they send it all the way down the ice, and DiVincentis will play it behind the net. 12:50 to play in the period. Still no score. 40 seconds now remaining in the North Bay power play. Winslow drops it back to McDonald over the blue line to the right side boards to Wakely. Wakely moving into the circle, going in below the goal line. Wakely to the left side to Bloom. Bloom back up high to Winslow, across to the right side. Back up high to Winslow. Now left side. McDonald's right there. Couldn't get the one-time shot off. He kicks it back to his stick, and now he sends it over to the far side to Zito. Back to McDonald, one-timer, and the save is made by Malbuff. We saw McDonald score that exact goal on Sunday against Sudbury, but Malbuff had it scouted that time. Now moving back into the zone is Zito over the blue line with 2 seconds left on the power play. Zito to the left side corner, whips it around to the far side. Moore is out of the box. We're back to 5-on-5 as North Bay maintain possession in the attacking zone. There's a hit on the head behind the play on McDonald there, but looks to be okay. Or check that, that was Bloom. And as it went to the blue line, McDonald lost control of the puck, and it came out of the zone. North Bay get it right back, and they dump it down. One of the Bulldogs players got hurt, Noah Nelson, the first-year forward. Looks like he's coming off the ice and is being checked over by the trainer, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Derek is between the benches as always here at the home game, so I'm sure he'll be able to provide us an update as we go along here. 11:28 to go in the period as the Bulldogs dump the puck down the ice. Hislop picks it up for North Bay and carries it down the right wing side. Gets up to the center ice line and dumps it back right towards the goaltender Malbuff. Picked up by the Bulldogs, and they will look to carry it out. Coming down the right wing side is Shirk, who gets hit at the blue line. But here comes a shot. That one's blocked. Now the puck goes some more at the line. His shot comes in wide of the net. Picked up on the far side boards. That is Brown there. Brown sends it behind the net to Bujold. Now to the left side. The shot comes in, and that one's wide. It comes to the blue line. Moore's there. His shot from the right side is wide of the net. 10:45 to play in the period. North Bay looking to get the puck out. It's Van Steensel there. Plays it off the boards to Tarasevich. Across to the left side to Hislop. Back to the right side to Christopoulos, and he will have some room to get it out. Sending it down the left wing for Procession. Procession going into the corner. He looks to center it to Romani. He's got some space. Dangles and scores! What a goal from Anthony Romani to get the puck. Dangle around a couple of players and put it behind the goaltender for a huge opening goal. It's 1-0 North Bay.
And that's his 18th of the year. How about 37 points on this? Oh, sorry, 21st of the year. Check that. 17 assists. His 38th point of the year. And the thing with Romani is we talk about Wakely having kind of a surprise, not a surprising season, but he's taken a step forward, right? He has more than 10 goals on the year. He's a 30 goal scorer. Romani's in that same kind of boat. He's taken a huge step forward this year, playing some big moments, and we've seen that goal a few times where he's had the patience to hold the puck and get around the goaltender and make some absolute great plays.
That was a fantastic move. I thought for a second he held on to it for a little too long.
Yeah, but I think he just has that confidence that he knows when to let it go. And I think if he let that go a little bit earlier, I think that Malbuff probably would have made the save, to be honest.
I think you're right. Like you said, Ben, 21st goal of the season. for Anthony Romani. And he has really turned into a valuable offensive weapon this season for North Bay. They lead 1-0 here on home ice. Zito brings the puck over the blue line, drops it to McDonald. The shot comes in, save made. Rebound chance, and another save is made. Bloom's got a third chance, drops it over to McDonald. He can't get the shot off. McDonald from the corner, centers it to Zito, and another save made by Malbuff. Oh, this line is smelling a goal, aren't they? Here comes Zito back into the zone again. He's got it behind the net. Zito down the right wing side, still in control. Plays it to Lucan at the blue line. Lucan fires it back to the far side. No one there for North Bay. Van Vliet has it behind the net. He gets hit by Zito, but as he does, he gets the puck cleared out to the neutral zone. 9:10 to go. 1-0 North Bay lead. The Bulldogs have the puck in their own end. Moore down the right side is Petrov, who intercepts it and gives it to Ertl walking down the middle. Drops it back to Jackson, but he goes offside. We're halfway through the first. It's 1-0 North Bay. We'll be right back.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news or access the alumni job portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
And Derek, North Bay up to a good start there. 1-0, getting the goal shortly after the power play. That's exactly what the team was looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Almost like the same goal that Romani scored a couple nights ago to open up the scoring. Outweighed at the goaltender. Malbuff made the initial move, and Romani was allowed just to walk around it and tuck it in on that short side. And that's exactly what the Battalion need, is that quick start. Get one in the first half of the period and see if they can get the crowd on their side. And that was probably the loudest I've heard the crowd this year. And see if they can carry them through and help them get a second goal here before the end of the first period.
Thanks very much for that, Derek. And as you said, Ben, his 21st goal of the season, 38th point now for Anthony Romani. And again, just becoming such a valuable offensive piece for Ryan Olahan and the Battalion.
Yeah, he's been so good, and he's been getting some huge minutes playing that top line with Jackson and him, so it's great to see him getting a little more confidence. I think he's also had a little bit of power play time as well.
Yeah, he certainly has. Now the Battalion coming into the zone, take a shot, and it's wide of the net. Puck goes to the near side boards. Picked up there by Jackson. He moves it to the blue line to Petrov. Petrov makes a move, takes a shot, and it's right into the glove of Malbuff, who has now made 6 saves on the evening. 8:32 to play, 1-0 North Bay lead. You had a chance to catch up with Ty Nelson earlier this week, and he is the guest on this week's episode of the Frontline Podcast. You can listen to that episode now, available wherever you get your favorite podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, it was a great podcast. Me and Courtney, of course. Courtney doing most of the heavy lifting, but I was there making sure people look nice, so it was kind of good. I believe the YouTube is up now as well if you want to watch the video of that. And again, we have a really nice clip during the first intermission as well, as he talks about his experience being a Seattle Kraken and growing up as a Leafs fan.
Yeah, brand new franchise. Down the ice, driving to the net, and a nice play on the back check by Christopoulos to poke the puck away from Lardis. We talked about Lardis earlier on how dangerous he's been on the attack, and that's a big play by Christopoulos to knock the puck away from him. 8:05 to play in the first period. North Bay lead 1-0. Looking for more as Hislop sends it in behind the Bulldogs net. It goes in the corner for Van Steensel. Plays it to the half boards to Arnsby. Arnsby whips it back to the line to Hislop. Plays it across the right side, Christopoulos. Back to the left side, Arnsby's got it. Sends it on net, deflected away by Malbuff. It goes way up and out of play. And as Arnsby got the shot off, Van Steensel looked like he got checked right in the circle, and he's a little slow to get up, but he'll make his way to the bench under his own weight.
Well, if we go back to Nelson for a second, what a draft the Seattle, I almost said the Mariners, I'm in baseball mode right now. The Seattle Kraken have had. They went very OHL heavy. If you looked at that game against Sudbury, they had 3 big name prospects: Ty Nelson, Kyle Jackson, who had 81 points this season in 65 games, and David Goyette, and we've seen how dangerous he can be for the Wolves.
Yeah, he scored a huge goal for the Sudbury Wolves in that game and set up a couple others.
Yeah, I believe that was the game-tying one, right?
That was. Wakely with it in behind his own net for North Bay. He finds Nelson, gets it out to the neutral zone, tried to find procession, couldn't control the puck as it came through the neutral zone, and that allows the Bulldogs to pick it up behind their own blue line. 7:15 to play as they look down the ice. Pass in the neutral zone goes off a body. Now the puck is on the near side boards. A couple of guys battling for it. Romani involved for North Bay. It's shot back to the North Bay blue line. Lucan picks it up, finds Nelson. He sends it down the middle for Wakely to the left side. Romani drops it back to Wakely. His shot goes off the body of Moore and ricochet to the far side corner. Picked up there by Nelson. He sends it to the left side to Lucan. Lucan pinching way in. Sends it in behind the net for Wakely. Wakely trying to hold it. He gets checked and the puck comes loose to the far side boards, and that will allow Mason Ray to pick up the puck and send it down the ice. Homecoming for Mason Ray. His father, of course, Scott Ray, as the assistant coach of the North Bay Battalion.
Always got to be an awkward game for him, not wondering who to cheer for. I'm sure he's cheering for him on an individual level, but not on a team level.
North Bay pick the puck back up and move it into the attacking zone again. Winslow at the line to the right side. Bristowski's shot comes in, and they score!
And I think that Bratowski is going to get that goal as McDonald's pointing to him. So I think that was a clean goal for Bratowski.
There was certainly some traffic in front of the net, but Bristowski, if it is, it's going to be his first in a North Bay uniform.
Yeah, it's going to be his second on the season again. This is only his 30th game as he missed, unfortunately with a hand injury, missed a large chunk of time. Played one game when the North Bay acquired him, missed a large chunk of time, and then finally was able to come back, and that's a huge game. Of course, unfortunately for Wyatt Kennedy, he's the odd man out in that defensive core as he's played very, very good this season, but having a guy like Brustowski who's a little bit more veteran, who's going to give you a little bit better of a presence when it comes to playoffs, that's a big goal for the Battalion. Now all of a sudden you're up 2-0 with 6 minutes to play in the first, and we all know how big goal cushions can be after what we saw on Sunday.
That is true. Yeah, Brustowski with his first goal since October 28th. When he was playing for the Greyhounds in a game against the Kingston Frontenacs. So despite playing in the Western Conference for 19 games this season, he's got his only 2 goals have come against Eastern Conference teams. Here come the Bulldogs now, trying to answer back. The pass to the middle of the zone. Lardis is there. Poke check off of his stick, and Bloom ends up with it and gets it out over the blue line. Man, the Battalion are just not giving them any room right now in the offensive zone. Now here comes a shot. Lardis from the right side gets it into DiVincentis, but he makes a stop. Lardis now falls down, and it's going to be a trip being called against North Bay here. Zito's going in the box, and what an opportunity there for the Hamilton Bulldogs, just not getting anything going offensively, and they get a benefit of the doubt call right there.
Yeah, and when you see the Battalion, what they do is when they start getting momentum, they really pile it on. We saw that as soon as Romani scored that goal, it was pretty much all Battalion after a pretty even start to the period between both these teams. Zito, unfortunately, getting too much of this. He gets a little bit too much of the states. And I was looking at the referee who was in the zone, who was taking care of the pace of play, and it was the behind.
He didn't make the call.
It was the trailing referee who ended up making the call there.
So the Battalion shorthanded for the next 2 minutes or less as Hamilton gets their 11th ranked power play out there, going up against the #1 penalty kill in the league in the North Bay Battalion. The shot comes into the North Bay zone. DiVincentis stops it behind the net, but he almost gave it right back to the Bulldogs. Fortunately, his defense bailed him out there, and they get it out of the zone.
North Bay's going to try to emulate what Hamilton did on their power play, or their penalty kill, as they did a masterful job of killing off clock time and not giving the Battalion any chance.
Moving the puck into the zone is Brown. He lost it, and North Bay come out of the zone with it. And it's Arnsby way up ahead, who now in the Hamilton zone plays it all the way back to his own end.
Very similar to what Hamilton did, yep.
Playing pitch and catch from about 150 feet away.
I didn't think I was talking that loudly.
Yeah, they thought, oh yeah, Ben made a nice point there.
That's a good point. Oh, they got to pay me more.
That's, wow. 50 seconds to go.
Who does the penalty kill for the Battalion? I'm coming for your job.
In behind the North Bay net, Nelson there, lost it. Centering pass, and the shot from Brown is stopped. It goes into the far side corner. Moore tried to keep it there, but North Bay knock it away, and they send it down the ice. 30 seconds to go in the North Bay penalty kill with 3:45 to play in the period. It's 2-0 North Bay. Panwar brings it over the blue line. Driving down the left side. He gets checked by Nelson, and Nelson just muscles him off that play.
Well, that's the thing with Nelson. Like, he's just one of those players he's so, even when you talk to him, he's so mature for his age. He knows exactly what he's doing on the ice there, and that is a very veteran move. And remember, this guy's basically in his second season. He lost a year to COVID. He definitely does not look like a second-year player.
Zito comes back out onto the ice. We're back to 5-on-5 play with 3:10 to go in the first period. It's a 2-0 lead for the North Bay Battalion. Shot in. DiVincentis stops it behind his net. Picked up back there by Winslow. Sends it up the boards to Petrov. Across to the far side to Hislop, and he'll trace back just a little bit to create some space. Now he sends it to Winslow, and Winslow will carry it forward. He gets it up to the blue line to Jackson. Jackson tried to move it to the middle, but Rebello is able to knock it off his stick, and that allows Hamilton to move the puck out to the neutral zone. It's Noah Nelson dumping it in, so he was off the ice earlier, being looked at by the trainer, so he's okay as he's back out on the ice. But now it's the North Bay Battalion who are back in the zone on a 2-on-1, but they can't get a clean shot off. The puck goes into the far side corner as Jackson has it. Plays it to Petrov now. Petrov's shot to the middle of the zone is knocked off a skate, and it goes the length of the ice. 2:15 to play in the first period. 2-0 North Bay lead.
Well, you see Romani getting some time on this top line. Ertl, he's usually on that third line with Wakely and Procession, and now he's getting some top line minutes, so you can see Houlihan kind of putting a little bit of faith in him here in this first period.
Jackson with the shot. The glove save is made by Malbuff, and that brings us to a stoppage in play with 1:57 to go in the first period. 2-0 the score. And I'm trying to figure out, no, he is changing lines up pretty quickly
Bloom's
here.
Up there now with
Bloom's
Wakely.
with Wakely.
I don't see the third. There's nobody out on the. They're looking to see who's going to join him there. I'm assuming it might be. Oh, they don't have a centerman out there, so they're probably going to bring. Wakely's playing the. Oh, now Zito comes out. So now they're going Wakely on the left wing with Zito and Bloom.
I'm trying to see if anyone's left the bench.
Yeah, we'll have to. No, Derek's not down there right now as he gets ready for the end of the period. But
and the trainer Andrew Satchku is still there too. So I think it's just Ryan Houlihan
especially
shuffling.
when you're going good. That's very very confusing. But
yeah.
Houlihan's been known to change his lineups around, and his team is so deep he can do that, right? Doesn't matter
That's
who
exactly
plays where.
it. You've got some great two-way players out there, and like you said off the top, they had a defensive unit out there to start overtime on Sunday. There's a shot coming in from Lukin that just goes wide, and it'll come out of the zone.
And we've seen Wakely play left wing and center this year too. He's been very good that way.
Zito with it. Plays it back. Now Lukin has it. Drops it back to Zito. Plays it across to the far side to Nelson in the neutral zone with just over a minute to play in the period. Nelson almost runs into Lukin coming down the middle. Nelson's got speed to burn, but he doesn't want to run into the wall that Lukin is, right?
And they're new partners, right? They haven't played a lot with
That's
each other, and he's still getting used to playing. You see Nelson not be as aggressive as he has been with Lukin, and they're just feeling each other out at this point.
And now it's Van Steensel, McDonald, and Arnsby out there, and they're in the defensive zone right now as the Bulldogs have control of the puck. They send it to the point to Van Fleet. Van Fleet with the shot coming in. Save made. Rebound right in the slot. Another stop. And then the third chance goes off his stick into the far side boards. Picked up over there by Thomas. He lost it, and now North Bay have a 3-on-2 going the other way. It's Arnsby down the right side. Drops it to McDonald in the middle. McDonald had it on his stick, but Shanowski got his stick in the way as well. So McDonald had to then carry that puck to the boards where he's checked, lost the puck in the process, and now it's Thomas picking it back up and sending it out to the neutral zone. Van Steensel has it there, turns it right back around and dumps it in for North Bay. McDonald chasing it into the far side corner, throws a check, and holds it on the corner as time will run out. So the North Bay Battalion off to a really good start. It's a 2-0 lead in a game in which they can clinch the Central Division title for a second straight year. They've got 40 minutes to do that now, but they've certainly gotten themselves off to a great start. Ben and Derek will break down the first period for you. You're watching the Frontline broadcast right here on YouTube, presented by Average Joe's. Stay tuned.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
And welcome back inside North Bay Memorial Gardens, where the Battalion scored twice in the opening frame and take a 2-0 lead into the dressing room over the Hamilton Bulldogs. Let's take a look at the first period scoring summary. After a little bit of a slow start, Anthony Romani got the Battalion on the board with his 21st of the season at 9:34. Procession and Christopoulos picking up assists on the Romani marker, and then Luke Bruskowski picked up his first North Bay Battalion goal, his second of the season at 13:47 from Winslow and Bloom, and that gave the Battalion that 2-0 lead that they took into the dressing room. 2 penalties in that first, with each team taking 1 penalty first. Lucas Moore went off for cross-checking at 5:50, and then Pasquale Zito went off for tripping at 14:42. Neither team was able to capitalize on their man advantage in that first period. Shots on goal favored the home side by a total of 10-6 in that first 20 minutes of play. Looking around elsewhere in the OHL tonight, 2 other games on top, and both of those feature Eastern Conference teams. First off, in Peterborough, the 67s and the Petes are deadlocked at 0 still. That game just a minute left in the first period. And the other game of note is in Barrie tonight. The Sudbury Wolves taking on the Barrie Colts, and that game remains scoreless 7 minutes into the first period. And as we talked about, one of the key players this year for the North Bay Battalion, Ty Nelson, still with 72 points on the season, has yet to record that 1 point that he needs to record or stand alone on top of most points in a single season by a defenseman. Has not happened, and hopefully in the next 40 minutes we can say that he set that single season record instead of just tying it. And this week he sat down with our very own Courtney Kenny and Ben Sargent as they discussed everything from growing up, being a Leafs fan, to being drafted by the Seattle Kraken. And we're going to have a little tidbit of that interview now here, as it is brought to you by the Frontline Podcast.
The Frontline starts now.
You're from, obviously, the Big Smoke TO.
Yep.
So, obviously being a Kraken fan, and since we're sitting in a room with somebody who's a Habs fan, you must have been a Leafs fan growing up, right?
I was, correct.
Yeah, so
yep. Born and raised.
Now that you're property of an NHL team, do you still kind of follow the Leafs, or are you not allowed?
Yeah, no. You, well, I mean, you just watch hockey in general, and you follow whatever's going on. But yeah, you know what? I've always had that soft spot for the Leafs, and it'll always be there. But,
yeah.
I mean, now it's just roll cracking for sure.
So it must be interesting, you know, to watch them, because last year obviously they weren't. I think people unfairly thought they were going to be the next Vegas Golden Knights, but now they've kind of taken off this year. Like,
yeah, they've done really well this year, and I mean, just looking at what Hack has done with the team and being there at camp and meeting all the guys, like they're all great guys, and it's pretty cool just to see from, you know, what they came from last year and what they're doing now this year. So it's a step in the right direction, and it's really like comforting as a prospect coming up, just seeing how they're consistently climbing the ladder.
mm-hmm. Was it who may have surprised you the most in camp as like the most approachable?
Probably Yanni Gord, or obviously Ebbs was a great guy,
Yeah.
and then Vince Dunn.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and then even to like Daniel Sprong, me and him got really close because he was in the hotel. Like he wasn't on a contract yet. Like he was on a tryout contract. So he was in the hotel with all the guys. So we got really close, and like we still talk almost every day. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So did you get to interact with Leafs legend Jared McCann?
Yeah, Canner, he's a beauty. All I remember is that one day after practice, he got in some trouble because of the bag skates. But we're sitting on the bikes, just going at it, pushing it, and he looks over at me, and he goes, "This is terrible. I don't know how you're keeping. Like this is some hard stuff, man. Like good for you keeping up. Like this is like I don't even know why you're doing this." And I was like, you know what, you're a fantastic player. I'm just gonna do what you do. Like I'm just idolizing you. Like, and yeah, I mean, he was a funny guy. He was always joking around, and look at him now.
Yeah.
Like 30 goals in the show. Like he's doing
amazing.
something that's working. That's for sure.
I would have loved him on the Leafs over Kerfoot. If I'm being honest with you, I understand the need for that deal, but man, I wish Seattle had taken. And it was a weird time too, because like the leaked video was like Kerfoot was the choice. Anyways, I could get into that whole expansion draft at some other time and how much it grinds my. Anyways, it is what it is. But for you yourself, I know we talked about this when we had you on at the beginning of the year. But to get your name called in the draft by Seattle, and of course be as stylish as you are with that hat and everything, what was that experience like?
No, it was fantastic, and you know what? It's a lifelong dream that you, as a hockey player, you grow up. You're like, okay, this is a goal. Like I want to get drafted, and obviously it's just like it's still sometimes surreal. Like you just kind of replay it in my head sometimes, and it's like, wow, this actually happened. And I mean, just super grateful for everyone that's been involved. Like my family's obviously the biggest part in that, and then all my coaches and even the people up here, my billets, all my teammates, coaches that have been involved, like I said. But yeah, it's still like shocking sometimes. Like I gotta pinch myself. It's like, okay, this really happened. Like,
yeah,
and it's amazing. Just sometimes like I'll be laying in bed at night and just kind of go over the draft videos and watch them again, just to try and relive that moment. Cause you know, like it's the goal that you set for yourself as a little kid, like 4 years old, you're saying, okay, I want to get drafted to the NHL. And it's like, okay, it actually happened. Like, and it's something that obviously it doesn't happen to a whole lot of people. So I'm super grateful and blessed to have it happen to me.
It's a really weird experience being like doing this podcast, because you were in our second episode and you were fresh-faced North Bay Battalion, first overall pick, you know, type of thing. And now here I am sitting here with you being like, no, Seattle Kraken prospect. I know. It's a really weird feeling.
It is, yeah. Going from a Zoom interview now into a nice studio we got here. Yeah, we're going big time here. So
we are going big time. Just remember that when you're up at the show at the Kraken and they're like, "Hey, you want to start a podcast?" Be like, "No, it has to be done like this one."
Yeah. No, I need K2 Kenny on the line.
Yeah, there we go. We'll get him set up. Might be a little bit of a time difference, but we'll figure it out. That's probably the biggest feather in your cap this year is you got to co-host an episode of The Front Line.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest. When it's all said and done, that'll be your career highlight, I bet.
Honestly, like, it was so much fun. Like you're sitting there, it's like, welcome back to The Front Line. Like, you know, just like I was in your shoes. I was Courtney Kenny.
I don't know if many people want that.
No, it was a lot of fun. And you know, it's nice because some interviews, like you go in, you're just like, they're asking the same monotonous questions every time. Like here, you come out, you're doing different things, and it's a lot of fun. And just being able to host the interview, like being able to throw curveballs at one of my best friends, DB, like Dom DiVincentis for the people who don't know who DV is, but yeah, it's so much fun, right? It's kind of like it's just a conversation. It's not like it's an interview.
Yeah. It's not like my favorites are the ones because I've conducted them myself during the game where you guys are like, we just want to get to the room. Like, please stop interviewing us. Like, it's so obvious too. And you're like, hey, so what do you guys need to do in the second period or whatever? And you're just like, just let me go rest. Like,
yeah, the last one I did, I think my last shift was probably about a minute and a half. And
oh wow,
like I was dry heaving, like I was dying for air, and I'm skating off because it's always like there's always the person there at like the bench holding the sign with the name and number on it. I see my name, is like, okay, so I'm like I told I forget the name of the guy who does the interviews.
Oh, Ranch.
Yeah, I told Ranch, I'm like. He's like, okay, like we'll be 45 seconds. I was like, can you push it back a little bit? Like I need some time to breathe here. But yeah, no, it's fun, and you know what, I like doing it. It's something I'm used to now because I'm doing a lot of away rinks and stuff. But it's always fun getting on the mic with you and Ranj and Greggy there. But yeah, it's lots of fun.
And that was just a small tidbit of the latest Frontline podcast done at the Clark Studios, and none other than producer Ben Sargent right here that was on that podcast. Ben, talk about that experience getting Ty Nelson in a studio setting for the first time. Yeah. And not just over Zoom.
Yeah, it was cool because it was the first time I've ever heard him. Like I've been able to speak to him, not on a Zoom call. When people are on Zoom, it's very it's almost like talking to the media, and people kind of get into like media mode, and that's kind of a bad. You don't get a lot out of them when you get in there, and even Nelson says it. I believe he says it in this interview, or at least he told it to us, if not off air. But it's very simple, and it's very easy to kind of be more conversational and get a little bit more out of them. Right? We talked to him before, we talked to him after, and then during that interview, it was an hour and a half long. It was supposed to be 30 minutes, and we looked down at the time and we're like, holy crap. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. Like, we got to wrap this up. And I think the recording was supposed to be done at like 6:30, and I think I was there till like just after 8. So, but it was worth every minute because it was such a great conversation with him. And I have so much more of an appreciation for how smart of a man he is, because he's very much a lot older than you think he is. He's like, basically, I think he's just like old enough to drink, essentially. And I remember back when I was in that 19, 20-year-old age, I was not that same level of maturity as I think most people aren't, and it's insane, like where his head's at, and he's such an amazing man to speak to.
And not only was that recorded this week, but also on the Frontline podcast, you can catch the latest episode of the 3-2 count, in which Courtney Kenny and Matt Sukram discussed the possibility of Joey Votto returning and maybe possibly playing for the Toronto Blue Jays. And just last night, just a prequel is Courtney Kenny, Ben Long, myself, we're in studio with you, Ben Sargent, to discuss the upcoming NOJHL playoffs, which gets underway next week as the Powassan Voodoos will be taking on the Hearst Lumberjacks. Game 3 and 4 will be in Powassan next Tuesday and Wednesday. The Frontline will be there to bring you every second of playoff action. First period done here, 2-0 for the Battalion. A good first period, and really looking at like they want to clinch the Central Division tonight.
Yeah, this was a much. It started off pretty even, and I was looking at him saying Hamilton's doing a pretty good job here to start things off, being relatively even. They're doing decent job in the offensive zone. They're doing a decent job in the defensive zone. But man, as soon as Romani made that beautiful dangle on Malbuff, that's when the Battalion just took that momentum and ran with it. Even when they went on the penalty kill, from that trip from, or I believe it was a trip from Zito, they played a very strong penalty kill on that as well, not giving Hamilton any chances. I thought maybe Hamilton was going to do it separated and tie it up in that last minute of the first period. DiVincentis, of course, looking good, and it helps when your team, whenever it seems Hamilton's getting a shot on net, it's always when DiVincentis is squared to the puck. And whenever you're in that situation, it makes you look really good because those are the easy ones to save. They're not giving Hamilton the plays where they're stretching DiVincentis post to post, and they're getting all of this action in the top part of the net where you have him diving across and try to make a save. So the Battalion are doing a good job. Even when they give up these high scoring chances, it's in a situation where DiVincentis is squared to that puck and he's able to make a relatively easy save, and we've seen that a couple of times. Offensively, they're starting to push things up. They're starting to do things a lot better. And you know what? If they keep doing this for the next 40 minutes, it's going to be good.
Wow, an electrifying first 20 minutes here where the Battalion jumped out to a 2-0 lead. When we return, Matt Sukram will rejoin Ben Sargent for the second period action here as you are watching Bulldogs Battalion on the front line.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
Welcome back. Period number 2 underway. North Bay lead 2-0. And they're looking to get the puck out of their own zone right now. Behind the net, Arnsby finds it. Sends it down the left side boards, and it's out. Picked up by Van Vliet. He sends it forward for Hamilton. Off a skate to the stick of Lardis down the right side. His shot goes wide of the net. Picked up on the near side, and another pass coming through the slot goes all the way to the boards. Picked up now in the corner. They're looking to center it. That one's broken up by Christopoulos. Paul Christopoulos moving it down the near side boards. Lost it. The pass in the middle is picked off by North Bay, and they get it out of the zone. Arnsby down the right side over the blue line. Sends it up to the circle for Van Steensel. Van Steensel walking in. Sends it through the top of the blue paint and across to the far side. It comes back to the point. The shot comes in. It's stopped in front of the net. Van Vliet has it for the Bulldogs. He leaves it behind the net for Moore. And Moore brings it up, sends it down the left wing for Brown, and he goes offside. A quick pace, minute 5 seconds into the second period. 2-0 North Bay lead.
And again, it's Houlihan starting off with the energy line as it's Arnsby, Van Steensel, and Tarasevich getting the start again. So you can really tell, like, that's kind of telling when you show how much faith he has in that line and how much that line affects stuff, not necessarily from a goal-scoring perspective, but what they do for pace of play. And Ryan loves the way that this line starts. It always starts with the Battalion on the forefront of momentum, which is always the key.
And we'll have to keep an eye on what he does with the rest of his lines going forward.
Didn't look like anybody left injured. We were kind of wondering that as they really changed up, but it didn't look like anybody left.
But it just seemed like it was the last shifts for everyone that he changed up.
Well, Ertl back out there with Petrov and Jackson as well.
Could have been an equipment issue. Someone's skate needed sharpening. Like, you never know. So Jackson brings it over the blue line to Petrov, walking down the middle to Ertl. Back to Petrov on the back end. He gets stopped by the goaltender, who was on his stomach on his far right side and still made the save, blocking Petrov from getting a goal. Puck back out to the neutral line. Now it is in the neutral zone as it comes over the blue line. Sent in by Shirk. It goes back around to the far side boards. Sent back in by Shanowski. Back around to the near side. North Bay find the loose puck, and Nelson gets it out. Up ahead to Jackson, over the blue line, to the middle, to Ertl on the right side, back in front to Jackson, and his shot just kind of deflected off his stick. and then it became an easy save for Malbuff. 17:47 to go in the second period. It's a 2-0 lead for the North Bay Battalion. And if you're enjoying the broadcast, you can show your support by heading over to patreon.com/Frontline Podcast and take a look at all the different perks we have set up for our loyal listeners and subscribers. Again, it's patreon.com/Frontline Podcast. We appreciate all your support. Off the draw, McDonald shoots it in, and that one's off the blocker of the goaltender Malbuff, and it gets cleared out to the neutral zone. Rebello and Bloom battle on the corner. And now the puck knocked away from that area towards Stevenchentis. He holds onto it behind the net, sends it to Bristowski. And Bristowski brings it up to the blue line. Now his pass into the Hamilton zone is picked off quickly by the Bulldogs. And now they're being pressured just to get it out of their own end. As it comes around to the far side boards, now it is carried out by Noah Nelson. Sends it to the right side to Rebello. Rebello lost it on the boards. And now North Bay will make their way down the ice. On the left side, it's Winslow dumping it in. Off the end boards, it gets picked up and slapped back around to the near side. Out to the neutral zone, Christopoulos is there. His pass back into the zone is blocked by Panwar. Panwar with speed going in, tries to split 2D, but he gets stopped right at the end by Zito and Hislop on the back check. North Bay still trying to clear the puck, though. On the far side boards, now it comes to the middle. Lardis can't get a shot off. The puck goes to the near side. Grushnikov's there. He can't get it towards the net, and North Bay dump the puck down. It goes the length of the ice. Icing is called. 16:20 to go in the second period. 2-0 North Bay.
Again, the Battalion, they're kind of in that exact same situation they were in on Sunday night, except they're up 2-0 instead of 2-1. If you're the Battalion, it's going to be the same thing. You want to try to keep the Bulldogs out of the score sheet, and so far, again, Stevenchentis, only 6 shots against him. None of them have been very high quality, like not necessarily super high quality scoring chances. And if you're the Battalion, the big thing is you want to get at least 1 or 2 more, keep this a 3-4 goal game going into that third period, and you know that kind of play against Sudbury really sticks with you.
Down the ice, McDonald chasing it, goes to the end boards and then blows a tire there and goes awkwardly into the end boards, and now he's skating off very quickly. And remember, he exited Sunday's game in the second period, so something to watch for there. 15:50 to play in the second period. Down the ice, Romani trying to get in. He's interfered with by Grushnikov, and Grushnikov will be sent to the box for those actions. And so with 15:48 to play in the second period, North Bay will have their second power play of the game.
Well, this is another instance where Romani's just trying to gain the zone after a dump and chase, and he's getting interfered with. You can't make contact with a stop, impede a person's progress when they don't have the possession of the puck or about to be possession of the puck. So a pretty standard interference call there. Now the Battalion are 0 for 1. We're going to get another chance in this power play. And we talked about them trying to get another goal. Here's a great opportunity for them to go up 3-0. And again, it looks like it's going to be Arnsby, Jackson, Romani getting some more power play time with Petrov and Nelson in the back.
North Bay wins the draw, but they drop it back in between their 2 defenders at the blue line. So now they have to chase it all the way to their own end. And that allows them to regroup as Nelson brings it forward, drops it back to Petrov, down the left wing side. Jackson over the middle, tried to get through all 4 guys, and it almost worked until all of them just kind of boxed him out and said, all right, get the puck off this guy. And it's sent back down the other way. Petrov will start again with it. Gets it up to Arnsby down the right side boards. Up to Jackson in the circle. To the point, Nelson. To the right side, Petrov. Into the right side circle, Jackson. Jackson back to Petrov. One-timer, fires it. Save made. Nelson picks it up on the far side. Nelson circling the zone. To the right side, Jackson. The shot coming in. That one stopped off a stick. It's deflected off the glass. Goes to the far side boards. Petrov picks it up there. Petrov at the blue line. Leaves it there for Jackson. To Nelson. One-timer. Into the glove of Malbuff. And he holds on to it for stoppage and play. And remember, Nelson is, he's thinking about it. He can set the all-time record for points in a season by a Battalion defenseman. He would surpass the record that Mike Vernay set when the team was still in Brampton. Both men have 70 points One more for Nelson in the next 3 games puts him at the top of the list.
Yeah, and what more can you say about him? He's been absolutely fantastic. And again, I don't think he's going to be starting the season in North Bay. I honestly do think, and you get the sense when you talk to him, that I think he's going to be a Seattle Kraken at least for a few games next year, which very well deserved for the young man.
Off the draw, North Bay control the puck, still on the power play for 50 seconds here. They lead 2-0 here in the second period. The puck is on the far side boards. It's Wakely with it. Sends it to the blue line to Winslow. Now to Zito, back to Winslow. Back to Zito on the right side. Shot coming in. Stopped by Malbuff. Does he actually have it, though? The referee doesn't see it, and now they blow the whistle. What a bizarre play that was.
Well, that's the kind of one where you're goaltender, you're not sure where you are, and it's almost like, should you play like as if you know where the puck is? Maybe you get it, because again, the referees are looking, when they can't see the puck anymore, they're supposed to call the whistle, and that's something where maybe you have to make a bit of a bluff if you're Malbuff, but either way, it doesn't hurt him. But
getting an overhead look at that. Was the puck ever loose? No. That's not a great call by the officials there, right? It's especially if you don't see it trickling through. It's I feel like
you got to protect the goaltender.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, the worst case scenario there is that someone runs the goalie.
And nobody wants to have sticks in their faces, and think about it as a goalie. Like, those guys get bruised up very much. It's not an easy life.
14 minutes to play in the second period. North Bay down to their last 10 seconds on the power play here. They lead 2-0, looking to add to it. Here is Wakely. Wakely working on a 30-goal season. Carries it to the left side. Back to 5-on-5 play now as Grushnikov is on the ice. Shot coming in, and it's a glove save made by Malbuff, and he holds on to it for the stoppage in play. 13:44 to go in the second period. Not a lot of animosity between these two teams so far. There's been 3 penalties, but they've all just kind of been stick infractions or,
This is interesting. The referee, I don't think there's anything coming of it. I think as soon as you said that, there was a little bit of jawing there between I think that was Shield, I believe. No, sorry, Adrian Rebello. He was kind of being escorted off by the referee back to his own bench. So, but as you said, not a lot of animosity. But talking about goaltenders for a quick second, have you ever met a more superstitious person than goaltenders? They are, like, unbelievable.
Except for any fan listening to us calling a game where there's been no goals scored.
Yeah.
That's playback underway. It's Tarasevic with the puck coming down the right side. Tarasevic thrown into the boards, but the puck goes behind the net. Arnsby finds it back there. He carries it to the left side, plays it in the corner. Van Steensel's there. Van Steensel centers it, but it goes off his skate and knocked behind the net. Now Arnsby took a hard hit on the boards. Still controlling the puck, though. It goes back in the corner. Tarasevic is there. He tried to drop it back, but that got intercepted by the Bulldogs, and they will clear it easily out of the zone. And North Bay from the neutral zone send it right back in and come back in onside, but the Bulldogs have the puck. Pamwar sends it down the right side boards, and that will be... No, it won't be icing as it goes into the zone. Looks like Patrick Thomas was able to beat out the call. 12:45 to go as North Bay bring it right back out. They lead 2-0, and they're back in control of the puck inside the zone. Hislop has it on the far side. Sends it behind the net. Tarasevic into the corner for Wakely. That's been a long shift for these guys. Wakely backhands it around to the near side to Procession. So now that line's getting off. Procession tried to set it up for Romani, I believe, who was coming off the bench, but it went past his stick and cleared the zone. 12:15 to play in the second period. North Bay lead 2-0. The Bulldogs, from their own blue line, send it back the other way. Nelson brings it forward down the right wing side. Procession has it. He flips it up to Nelson, who carries it over the blue line. Nelson goes right back behind the net, chips it in the far side corner. Wakely takes a hard hit there, but gets it to Romani. Romani to the near side to Nelson. Nelson shot, kicks a made. Rebound chance, and it's into the chest of Malbuff, and a big save. His 15th now of the game, and the last couple have been pretty acrobatic.
Well, if you know a lot about hockey, you'll probably know the fact that the average shift's usually 30 to 45 seconds, and you might say that's not a lot of time. But man, being on the ice playing at this kind of level, and especially as you get higher and higher and higher, that's a lot. Like Nelson even said, you can hear it in our intermission on that little snippet, he was talking about doing a minute and a half shift and being just completely out of breath the entire time.
Yep.
And that's something that you have to always keep in mind. It's really tough to do this in small spurts.
Sent down the ice. Jackson with it. Plays it up to the blue line. Shot comes in. Big save made by DiVincentis. The puck trickled off his body to the left side, and Noah Nelson had a wide open shot there, but DiVincentis recovered in time to make the save.
Well, we were talking about goaltenders and being superstitious. It's interesting talking. We see Nelson talk about it, Wakely talk about it on the podcast, but just talking about how they tend to be a little bit more, you can't talk to them, they kind of do their own thing. Interesting, we'll have a little clip coming up of Daniel DeRoccolo and Caden Long from the Voodoos. DeRoccolo, of course, being one of the goaltenders.
There's a shot in. Save made by DiVincentis. Go ahead.
Oh, just to finish my thought, I was going to say it's very interesting because it's very similar to the way that DiVincentis is the same way with that superstitious, and it's just something that goaltenders tend to have quite a bit.
Out to the neutral zone. Ertl has it for North Bay. Coming down the right side, cuts to the middle, goes to the left side circle, takes a shot, just goes wide glove side, and ricochets off the glass and out to the neutral zone. 11 minutes to play in the second period. North Bay ahead 2-0. Here comes Petrov down the right wing side, goes below the circle, centers it for Ertl, and it's just past his stick. It goes off the boards, and it comes out to the neutral zone. That's carried ahead by Mason Ray. Mason Ray coming in, and his shot goes into the chest of DiVincentis. You know, he wanted to get one in front of his hometown crowd, and I know that there are a lot of his former teammates with the North Bay Trappers that are in the building tonight. Once again, congratulations to the U18 Trappers for winning their league, the GNMAL, and easy for me to say.
Northern Midget Hockey League.
So with their season wrapped up and they're waiting for their next tournament, a lot of them are in the crowd tonight, seeing their former teammate.
Now here's the thing, tie game. Let's say Ray scores the go-ahead goal. As a father, how does that make you feel? That's a conundrum.
You got to feel happy as a father, as a coach.
I don't know. Some of these guys are hyper-competitive, though. That would be interesting.
At the line, Grushnikov takes a shot. It goes off his stick, off the glass. Played behind the net. They try to pass it back out to the line, but North Bay gets in the way, and North Bay will break out of the zone with it. Bloom sends it to the right side to Romani. Romani to the half boards to Bloom, and then Bloom's pass back to line is right through the defense and sent down the ice. So McDonald not back out there. Remember, we saw him take that spill into the boards earlier in this period.
The second game that he's kind of missed a little bit of time.
10 minutes to play in the second period. We'll get Derek's thoughts on our next break as the puck comes in front of Malbuff and he makes a save. And now after the whistle, it is, I'm not sure if it's Grushnikov.
Yeah, it is. He was pushing around with Bloom there.
And Bloom was incensed immediately.
And I think Grushnikov's going off. It looks like Bloom's not. So I think this is going to be just a straight roughing call, I would imagine. Are they going to call it cross-check?
Cross-checking again. Okay, so we will take that break, and we'll be right back.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news or access the Alumni Job Portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
And as always, halfway through the period, we're joined by Derek, who's in between the benches. And Derek, the Battalion with no goals in this period yet, still maintaining the 2-0 lead. But we're looking ahead and hoping that Kyle McDonald will get back on the ice. What are you seeing down there?
Yeah, he just left the bench just within the last couple minutes. He has yet to return, but trainer Andrew Satchuk has. So just interesting to see if it's just game maintenance. Does he look like he caught an edge going into the corner just prior to that, or maybe just again needing a little bit of a break, trying to get rest up before a playoff run that he will be desperately needed in, Matt.
Yeah, so again, second straight game where Kyle McDonald has left in the second period.
And you want, like, even though he signed his entry-level contract, you might think, hey, he's going to take a little bit off of his game, but no, he came into the last game with 6 goals in 5 games, so he was on absolute fire.
Yep.
And he did score a beautiful goal against Sudbury on a one-timer on a power play, and today he's had a couple of good looks as well. And again, the depth of this team is something that I think can really push them far. And I don't want to speak for anybody on the Battalion, but I'm sure the sense around them is this is the year they've got to go deep. They have to. They're going to have such a different lineup next year when you see Petrov going. Nelson probably not starting the year with it. McDonald, Winslow. So this is kind of a big year for them and a big playoff.
Absolutely. And North Bay back on the power play now. Grushnikov is in the box. And the Battalion 0 for 2 tonight so far on their power play chances, but they lead 2-0 with 9:24 to go in the period. The puck comes to the blue line. Jackson takes a shot deflected right into the blocker of the goaltender Malbuff. The puck goes to the far side corner, comes back in front, and Malbuff will stop it. And now there's going to be a slashing call coming up against the North Bay Battalion. So unfortunately, that ends the North Bay power play with only 44 seconds played there.
Yeah, very unfortunate power play, penalty to take for Romani. As it's always hard when especially when you still have a good chunk of your power play left, 1:16 to go, and they didn't really get a lot going there. But the good news for the Battalion is they've really shown up with the offensive side. Again, I'm always talking about how if you want to play great defensively, you can do so by playing great in the offensive zone and not giving a lot of chances for Hamilton. 2 shots so far in this period. Now up to 19 shots. They took one off the shot clock, but 19 for the Battalion so far.
9 minutes to play in the second period, and it's 4-on-4 for 1:05. Racing down the wing, it's Tarasevic, and he fires one. I don't know if it hit the post, but it went up high over the glass and out of play. You mentioned you mentioned Dan Girocolo earlier. He's on the podcast. Well, the NOJHL season has wrapped up, and we know that the Boston Voodoos will be playing the Hearst Lumberjacks, and we will have games 3 and 4 for you right here on the Frontline broadcast, presented by Average Joe's. And
they talked about that on the roundtable as well, like what it's going to be like. I think this is going to be a 7-game series, and unfortunately for Hearst being a 6-hour-ish trip away, the team is not looking forward to the trip, especially Girocolo, who I don't remember if he's going to say it in the interview, but he talks about he does not use his screen when he's on the bus.
Interesting.
So imagine going, he said, 4-hour bus drive, no screens. That's got to be one boring bus ride.
Yeah, no kidding. North Bay back on the attack here. 4-on-4 for another 35 seconds. Bring it to the middle. Van Steensel kicks it to a stick, and then he fires it just high. Van Steensel was almost falling over and then somehow stayed on his feet and got a quality shot off, although it did go several feet too high. 8:20 to play in the second period. North Bay ahead 2-0. And they are about to go on the penalty kill in the next 10 seconds. And the Bulldogs will have about a 44-second power play. And now they're setting it up in the offensive zone. Shot comes in. It goes off the blocker of DiVincentis and then goes behind the net. In the far side corner, Lukin hit hard. Slowly falls to the ice, but trying to shield the puck. And is still battling 2 Bulldogs players over there from getting any possession. Now it's finally kicked to the blue line. Pass goes back in the far side corner. Comes around behind the net. Nelson's there. He's able to shovel it up to the blue line. Shot comes back in towards DiVincentis. He just cleanly plays it away. The puck goes to the far side boards now. Up to the blue line. Couple of guys digging away at it, and it gets cleared out to the neutral zone. 10 seconds to go in the very shortened Hamilton Bulldogs power play with 7:20 to play in the period, and the Bulldogs bring it right back in the zone. One last chance on the man advantage here. They lose the puck behind the net, and Zito will get it out. Try to feed it up to Romani, who just came out of the box, but that didn't work. And now we're back to 5-on-5 play. With 7 minutes to go, North Bay lead 2-0 here in the second period. And it's controlled in the neutral zone by Shirk. Drops it all the way back to his own blue line to Grushnikov. Grushnikov sends it forward. Lukin blocks it, sends it back the other way. Artem Grushnikov will send it forward again. Zito trying to battle for it at the blue line. Lost that battle. The puck goes towards the North Bay blue line. Bristowski gets it back quickly for North Bay. Sends it up to Zito coming in on the left side. Zito to the middle. Sends it to the far side to Romani. Romani goes into the corner. Tries to play it up to the line, but that's blocked. by O'Keefe, and O'Keefe will clear the zone. Brings it all the way down the ice, drops it to the blue line, back to O'Keefe, back in front of the net to Raballo, but he could not get the shot off. Raballo plays it to line to Roberts. His shot is blocked, and it gets cleared out to the neutral zone. 6:10 to play in the second period. 2-0 score, North Bay. Hamilton move it back into the North Bay zone. It's on the far side corner. Bristowski battling for it there. That puck comes loose. It goes to the far near side where Ertl picks it up. He skates it through the right wing side. Ertl sets it up to the left side for Winslow. Winslow goes and plays it in the corner. Knocked off the puck there, and the Bulldogs will clear it. Down the left wing side, that's Noah Nelson of Hamilton. He sends it in towards the North Bay net. DiVincentis with the pad save, kicks it to the near side. It goes off the boards, goes to the far side, and North Bay will get control of it there, and they will clear it out. Carried up by Christopoulos to Jackson over the blue line. He comes down the right wing side, stops at the goal line, tries to center it for Ertl. Ertl gets hit going in towards the net, and that allows Bulldogs to go the other way. 2-on-1. It gets stopped initially. Now they have a chance with Ray on the right side, but he cannot get the shot off. Ray finds the puck, tries to center it. That one's blocked as well. It's Romani now finding the puck at the line, plays it up ahead to Jackson. Jackson comes through the neutral zone, and he dumps it down with 5 minutes to play in the second period. North Bay maintaining a 2-0 lead. Puck goes to the far side boards. That's Luke in there. He sends it to the right side to Romani. Drops it back to Nelson on the half boards. Nelson lost it, and it gets off his stick and comes clean out to the neutral zone. Lukin has it now. Sends it across to Procession. He dumps it forward. Picked up quickly by Shanowski. Shanowski up ahead to Panwar. One-on-one with Lukin in the zone. Lukin with a great job to keep Panwar away from the puck and send it to the far side boards. But now Panwar and now Shanowski get it back on the far side. He tries to play it to the middle. Romani blocks it. Lost it in some skates. Panwar with a chance at it. He knocks it towards the net. Now Panwar's right there in front of the net. And the save is made by DiVincentis. 4:20 to play in the second. 2-0 North Bay. But Panwar almost cut into this deficit.
Well, how good has Dom DiVincentis been in the month of March? And will be his 6th game. So in the previous 5 games, he played Sudbury, gave up 2 goals. In Mississauga, shutout. Owen Sound gave up 1 goal. London, shutout. Peterborough, 3 goals, though 2 of those goals were kind of ones that were like, they probably should have went in. They were kind of more of fluke goals. They're not really his fault at all. And, of course, White's shutting the door right now against Hamilton. So he's been absolutely dominant. And that's on top. He's getting stronger as the year goes by. And this is the kind of streak you want your goaltender to be on. And we've seen this with teams in the NHL where their goaltenders stand on their heads and get them deep. Goaltending is the thing that's going to really push you in the playoffs, and it can really put you over the edge.
Puck to the near side boards in the North Bay zone. The Battalion trying to move it out of the area. Lard is stopping that from happening. He plays it to the middle. Shirk is following that puck. He has to play it off the boards now. Now it's in behind the net. The hard hit from behind the net, but the Bulldogs end up with the puck. They play it to the blue line. Now down the half boards for Lardis. Lardis gets his pocket picked there by Arnsby, who just came in and stole the puck, lifting the stick and dragging the puck away, and they send it all the way down into the Bulldog zone with 3:40 to play in the second period. 2-0 North Bay lead. Puck in the far side corner, now in behind the net. That's picked up there by Roberts of the Bulldogs, and he will get it out, moving through the neutral zone into the North Bay end. Takes a shot that goes wide of the net. Poke check there by DiVincentis as it played off the back, the end boards, and it's up ahead to Wakely. Now Wakely going all the way down the ice, but he can't get in front of the Bulldogs net, so he'll carry to the corner. Now play it to the half boards. Knocked out of that area. Back behind the net. Wakely finds it, looking to center it. That one got stopped. Wakely looking for control again behind the net. It goes to the near side. Couple of guys in the area. Now it goes back behind the net to the end boards. Knocked away there. Sent to the near side boards. Wakely battling there again. A couple of guys involved. Roberts finds the puck, sends it to the far side boards. Winslow's there for North Bay. He carries it behind the net, sets up Zito at the boards, sends it to the point to Bloom. Bloom back to the half boards. This pass gets picked off, and that allows the Bulldogs to get it out to the neutral zone. O'Keefe over the blue line to Rebello. Back to the right side to Nelson, who carries it in the far side corner. Now he switches spots with O'Keefe. who tries to control the puck there. He lost it, getting knocked down by Zito, and he plays it to the far side boards, but Bloom can't hold the puck. It's sent to the line. Shot comes in from the Bulldogs. That's stopped, and now North Bay will spring Bloom free all the way down the ice behind the defender. Takes the shot, and it goes off the side of the net, but the net was knocked off its moorings on that shot, but the officials just keep letting play go.
There, so they decided to keep it going, but Bloom, great opportunity there.
Oh, and they tried to get Jackson sprung free, who was well behind the defense, but they could not get it to him. The Bulldogs block it, and they send it back in towards the North Bay net. Now a minute 50 to play as Lucan will bring it forward. It's 2-0 for the Battalion. Down the left wing side, Ertl has it, plays it in behind the net. Malbuff is there, the goaltender for the Bulldogs, flips it around to the near side boards, and that allows Shirk to carry it out. Shirk plays it to the right side over the North Bay blue line. He goes to the far side boards, and then the puck gets knocked away from that area. It's carried out by Jackson. Jackson down the left wing, trying to get some support. He's being checked on the back check by the Bulldogs, but now he gets it over to Petrov. Petrov's shot comes in, and it's stopped by the goaltender, and now some pushing and shoving going on in front of the net. Jackson involved, and I don't know which. That's Grushnikov again.
Yeah. Well, that's what he does. He's that kind of instigator for the for the Bulldogs. 17 points in the year, 8 goals though for Grushnikov as he's found the back of the net as a defenseman. Interesting point for Hamilton coming into this game too. They're playing a little short-handed here as they have 3 full lines and O'Keefe as the well, I guess this would be the 10th forward in this bay, and only dressing 6D as well, not even a 7th D. As when we looked at our sheet this today, there was about 8 people scratched for the Bulldogs versus the 5 scratched for the Battalion. So very telling there as well.
Yeah, that's a lot of bodies to not have in your lineup. North Bay off the draw, send it towards the net, but that one just missed. Jackson from the right side circle sends it to the left side. His left shot comes in, and that one is stopped. It goes up high, in behind the net, found there by Ertl. He carries it to the near side corner, gets pushed in the boards, and that will allow the Bulldogs to get the puck out of the zone. It's Panwar leading the rush down the ice. He goes towards the North Bay net, drops it back for Lardis. Lardis pass to the middle of the zone is blocked by Jackson, and Jackson will calmly carry it out of the zone. 55 seconds to go in the period. 2-0 North Bay lead. North Bay turn the puck over the blue line. Panwar trying to move forward. Panwar is interfered with by Christopoulos, and that's going to send Paul Christopoulos to the penalty box.
Well, if you're the Battalion, you really wanted to get at least one more goal here, because now with it a 2-goal lead, it gets kind of interesting. If one finds the back of the net against DiVincentis, now all of a sudden it's a 1-goal lead, and now you're playing a little bit more timid because you only have a goal to play with. You would, again, love to have at least one more goal of a lead going to the third period, but this is going to be a big kill for them in the last minute, and you're going to start the period again. Look at who's out there. It's Arnsby starting things off on the defensive line, along with Hislop and Lucan, and I'm not too sure is on the far side there, as you can't see the number, but they're really putting their shutdown line here in the last minute of play.
They turn the puck over. Here comes Arnsby down the ice on the breakaway. The captain in, just fires high. What a play by the Battalion right off the draw in the defensive zone, and that is exactly what you were saying. You can create offense by having good defense. They win the draw in the defensive zone, spring a guy free, and there was no one within 5 feet of the guy.
They have 15 shorthanded goals, 5 of those from Tarasevic, and it's because they have speed and they're able to break free from the neutral zone. We see it time and time again. Teams don't respect that speed, and they don't have enough guys in the neutral zone, back near their own zone. And the next thing you know, you get breakaways just like we saw with Arnsby.
2 seconds to go. North Bay will dump the puck down the ice, and the period will come to a close. They will have 1 minute and 11 seconds remaining on their penalty kill when the third period begins, but they carry that 2-0 lead from the first period over to the second, and that is the score as they head into the locker rooms after 40 minutes of play. You're watching the Frontline broadcast right here on YouTube, presented by Average Joe's. Stay tuned, second period intermission coming up.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
And welcome back inside Memorial Gardens, where neither team were able to capitalize in that second period, and the North Bay Battalion Steel see themselves leading 2-0 as we enter the second period intermission. No score to talk about in that middle frame, but a few penalties to report. Artyom Grushkinov went off for interference at 4:12, and then he went off again at 10:02 for cross-checking. And then a couple penalties for the North Bay Battalion. Anthony Romano for slashing at 10:46. And at 19:11, Paul Christopoulos went off for interference. So the Hamilton Bulldogs will start the third period with 1:11 remaining in that penalty to Christopoulos. Both teams 0 for 3 on the power play so far through 40 minutes. Meanwhile, the Hamilton Bulldogs will still have 71 seconds on their third opportunity. Shots on goal after 2 periods. The Bulldogs doubled up with another 6 shots in the second for a game total of 12. Meanwhile, the Battalion fired 13 shots on goal for a game total of 23. Taking a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, both other games are also in the Eastern Conference tonight. First off, in Peterborough, the Ottawa 67s and the Petes are deadlocked at 1 apiece with 8:35 left in the second period. Just underway in the second period, the Barrie Colts now, on the strength of a pair of goals by Brant Clark, lead the Sudbury Wolves by a score of 2-1. Again, just 2 minutes gone in that middle frame. But it doesn't matter what the Barrie Colts do. If the North Bay Battalion can win tonight, they will clinch the Central Division title. Well, the Frontline took a different approach this week on their latest podcast episode. As Courtney Kenny and myself this week were joined by Powassan Voodoo players, first-year players, Danielle DeRocklo, one of the goaltending tandem for the Voodoos, along with Astraville product, Caden Long, as they discuss their prior years and how DeRocklo became a goaltender and how everything came about as they returned to Powassan in their first year this year. Here's a little tidbit of that interview now on the Frontline podcast.
The Frontline starts now.
Well, as we teased earlier, we have 2 Powassan Voodoos in here to talk NOJHL hockey and the upcoming playoffs for the Voodoos. It's Caden Long, whose coaching record is a sterling 1-0 after a good ball hockey game at Chippewa, and goaltender Dan DeRocklo. Boys, thanks so much for joining Derek and I today on the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So, Caden, I got to ask, Nerves of Steel as a coach, what's it like out there?
I think we had a good set of team. We had Dan up front instead of back in the pipes like normal, and you know what? He got us the win that day, so I was pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, Dan, how different is it playing out front instead of in the pipes?
A lot less pressure. It's fun though. It's fun for sure. Yeah, it's good to get out there and show my mitts a little bit.
Well, have you always been a goalie, or did you start off like as a forward or defenseman?
I started, so House League, there was actually no goalies when I played House League. So I started when I was about 5, was my first year I played player. And then after that, they just stuck me in that one. I guess they needed a goalie.
They didn't have a choice?
No, they were just trying out goalies. I ended up saving a couple pucks, and then that's it. The coaches chose me.
All right, this guy saved like 2 shots. We'll give this guy the shot kind of
exactly,
thing.
Yeah. See, I got thrown on in goal because I couldn't skate.
Oh,
Nowadays, skating is a big part of the goaltending position, though.
Yeah, that might have been part of it too. I was not the best player, so I mean, maybe throw the worst player in net. That might have been a little bit part of it. But
when I was a kid and I played, my old man told me goalies are the laziest ever, so I wasn't allowed to be a goalie. And I was like, come on, like they look so cool. I was much better. I'm adamant that if I played goalie, I would have lasted a lot longer in hockey. I was a defenseman, and I was a forward, but my best offensive year came as a defenseman. I had like 5 goals in House League. I was like, oh my God, I'm living the dream now. God awful. Unlike you though, Caden, this is your first year playing for the Voodoos, coming back home after being down south for a little bit, but you know, pick up a few key goals there for the Voodoos this season. What's it been like playing kind of in your own backyard again?
Honestly, it's been amazing. You know, it was a great opportunity to go down and play for Vaughan the last couple of years, and great experience down in Toronto. You're playing against the best of the best, as I always say. But being back home and playing in front of my family and back in front of the home crowd, as I did all through growing up with the North Bay Trappers, there's no better feeling than that.
What kind of motivated you to come back?
Honestly, I just wanted to be, as I said, I've always wanted to be a Voodoo growing up, especially with them playing for as long as they have, and I've known people that have played for them, and you know what, it was the best decision I've ever made. But I've loved playing here this year, and it's been no better experience than I could have had. So.
For you, Daniel, coming up, I know we talked off mic about how long you've known Peter Goulet, the head coach of the Voodoos. Was it kind of a bit of did you feel like it was a gamble coming up this way and playing some hockey here? Like, because I'm sure you probably didn't really know what you were getting into when you first came up.
Yeah, like, honestly, I didn't know much about the league in general, but I talked to Peter, like, through the whole process. As soon as he decided to come up here, I talked to him about it, and he guided me in the right direction, and I thought that this was, like, the right place to play for me, to, like, progress in my hockey career, I guess. So
Peter Goulet being named coach of the year as well today in the NOJHL. For you guys, is there going to be any good ribbings in the locker room because of that, or are you guys going to be pretty, hey, congrats, Pete?
I think it goes both ways. Pete's a great guy. He's like one of the friends and stuff, but he's strict too. But I think he'll get both sides, I think, from the boys.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely give it to him a little bit, but yeah, like it's a huge honor for sure for him. So
I gave him crap when he shaved the beard. It was the best beard in the league.
Oh, it was.
I'd have to agree with that one, yeah, for sure.
It was so good. And then he told me, well, we lost a couple of games, so I had to shave. I'm like, playoff is coming up, man. You got to have the beard.
Yeah.
Fresh growth for the playoffs.
Yeah, I got to regrow it.
I'm not allowed.
It'll be back.
Well, I hope so. Yeah, and I hope you guys go on a long enough run. You guys got to win it all for it to actually get to that point again, right? So.
Oh, yeah. That's the plan.
Well, speaking of that, let's talk about Hearst, because I think you guys have known for like a month and a half now that it was going to be Hearst. Like Timmins was by far and away ahead of everyone, and then, well, we know how the bottom half of the Eastern Conference or Eastern Division was this year. But what are you guys doing? I'll start with you, Caden, playing Hearst coming up here this weekend. You know, what's the kind of mindset where you've known for so long that's going to be the Lumberjacks?
Yeah, we've known for a while. I gotta say, Peter and Hardo have been giving us the best opportunity to beat them. We do video every morning, and we're so focused on Hearst right now, and I think that's going to give us the advantage over them, and is the amount of work they've put in to teach us all the little secrets that they have, and I think that's what's going to help us over Hearst in the first round.
And a great job by Caden Long and Daniel Duracolo joining Courtney Kenny and myself this week in the studio to discuss the upcoming playoffs. They will be up in Hearst for games 1 and 2 this Saturday and Sunday before returning home. Game 3 will be Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. Game 4 will be Wednesday, and hopefully not the last 2 games that we get the call this year for the Powassan Voodoos, as the frontline broadcast will be with the Powassan Voodoos throughout the playoffs, same as with the North Bay Battalion, as they lead 2-0 after 40 minutes of play. Bringing back Ben Sargent into this second intermission. Ben, not a thrilling second period. Both teams kind of just meddling their way. But the big news was Kyle McDonald again going back to the dressing room.
Yeah, second game in a row that he finds himself not on the ice, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that in the third period. I don't know, again, getting the sense around the team was the last game was not something to be worried about. That was just precautionary. They were up 4-1. We know how the game ended. This time, though, a much tighter game. It's 2-0. Hamilton kind of put on the pressure a little bit on the Battalion. DiVincentis having to make a couple of really, really nice saves. Now, again, up to 12 shots here, but continues to close the door nicely. He had one or two. Again, we talked about squaring up to that puck. DiVincentis had to make a couple of nice sprawling saves. We saw a really nice save on the other side, though, by Malbeuf on, I believe it was, Van Stietzel, I believe. Anyways, it was on a Battalion player. It was a really nice save. So the numbers just not clicking in my head because it all looks the same. Hamilton is wearing the same jerseys as the
black
Battalion
and gold
right
out
now.
there.
But either way, what a fantastic game so far if you are the Battalion, because that was kind of like their third period shutdown mode where they did a pretty good job of they didn't get a lot of pressure on the offense, but they kept the momentum and they didn't let the game kind of get out of hand. Now, would you love to get one more goal? Absolutely, because now we saw this. What if Hamilton scores in the first opening couple of minutes? Now you're kind of, everything's a little bit tighter, especially coming off that Sudbury game where you did not play a good 20 minutes. It's so critical for the Battalion to show that they can play a solid 20 minutes. And I think that Sudbury game was kind of good in the sense that it showed like, hey, we're not invincible. Yeah, we're up 4-1, but any team at any point can come back and beat you.
Yeah, North Bay Battalion coming into tonight with an 8-game winning streak. That is the longest of the season, and if they can win again tonight, 9 straight since losing 8-2 to the Sarnia Sting back in February. That was a big turning point, I think, of the season for the North Bay Battalion.
Yeah, and of course, DiVincentis giving up all 8 goals. Not something that you normally see from Dom, but again, what I said in that second period, he came back firing. He's given up 6 goals in his last 6 games, and he's had 2 shutouts in that time. If you include this as the 6th game in that role, he's been absolutely fantastic. And even if you look at that Peterborough game, there's a couple of those that were kind of out of his control. There was a kind of a weird one that really kind of fluttered past him. That was kind of a fluke goal. A couple of ones where really the defense kind of left him out to dry. When the defense plays really great in front of DiVincentis, it's very hard to get pucks by him because he's so good at the fundamentals and so good. Again, we talk about squaring up, but it's so important because it takes away angles and goals. If you ask any goaltender or goaltending coach, it's all about angles. It's all about cutting them down and giving the shooter very little chance. Now, we've seen some scorers, like we've seen David Goyette make some great plays for Sudbury. We saw Kyle McDonald in that Sudbury game make a perfect shot. But you have to force that player to have that perfect shot. And it's kind of like baseball when you throw a perfect pitch and the guy ends up getting a hit off you. You just got to tip your cap. And that's the whole point about goaltending there. And DiVincentis is just a masterclass of breaking down those angles.
Yeah, DiVincentis hasn't been the busiest of goaltenders tonight, only 12 saves, and only one really acrobatic save that I can recall when he went from his left to his right in a split position. But again, a 2-goal lead going into the third period. The Battalion have been nothing but perfect, holding on to leads. We've seen them give up a lead Sunday against the Sudbury Wolves. What does it mean to have a bounce-back game knowing that you have that 2-goal lead and want to prove something?
Well, it's kind of one of those things when something bad happens, you want to be right in that situation again so you can show that they can do it. Now, don't forget, the last time Hamilton was in this building, the Battalion went into the third period with a 1-goal lead, and they did not play a good third period, and I think that was the first time that they've given up a lead at home after going up in the third game, and they ended up losing in regulation. So that kind of shows just first of all, they don't lose a lot at home. They don't lose a lot of leads at home. But this is going to be a big bounce back. They've got to prove that they can play that last 20 minutes, especially going into the playoffs.
Well, we don't know when the playoffs will start here for the North Bay Battalion or who their opponent will be. We do know that they will be on home ice for games 1 and 2 next week, sometime after we find out exactly where the Battalion finish and who their opponent will be. So stay tuned to the Battalion socials and the Frontline socials, and we'll keep you up to date when the playoffs will begin. But only 20 minutes separate the North Bay Battalion from a second consecutive Central Division championship as they lead the Hamilton Bulldogs 2-0 here as you are watching Bulldogs Battalion on the front line.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. indulge in one of our delicious menu items, or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Welcome back. Matthew Sukram with you here alongside Ben Sargent. 20 more minutes are on the clock, but it could be an eventful 20 minutes as we saw last Sunday, where the North Bay Battalion had a lead going into the third period, blew that lead, and ended up winning in overtime.
And you hope that's not the case now, to be fair. Dom is in net. Charlie was in net before. Thought that it was his fault. But you hope that Dom maybe steals a goal or two from the opposing team. And so far, he's looked very good. Only saved 12 shots so far, and the Battalion done a great job with 23-12 in favor of the Battalion right now in shots.
And want to thank everyone for listening in and watching along on YouTube tonight. John, thanks for joining us. Christine as well. I appreciate you joining the chat group as well. So play underway as the Bulldogs, with another 45 seconds to go in their power play, and they've tried to pass to the line. It's wide of the net, and it gets sent down the ice. They regroup, bring it up to the line, drop it back. Shirk sends it down the right side for Panwar, and he dumps it in. Lardis behind the net, gets checked into the boards. Puck comes around on the near side. Panwar digging away at the side of the net. DiVincentis made the initial save. It came loose again and cleared to the blue line, but Moore keeps it in the zone. Plays it behind the net, into the corner. That is controlled there by the Bulldogs. One of them got their stick up high in the mouth of Lukin, and with 6 seconds remaining on the power play, the Bulldogs are going to be penalized.
Yeah, and a big penalty is those dying seconds of Christopoulos' penalty earlier. It looks like, as you said, a high stick there going to Shirk. As now it's the Battalion again. If they can get one more goal, it's going to really help them a lot. They're going to have 6 seconds to go, and if the math is right, this is an easy one, Matt. I know you're the math whiz here. They'll have a minute 54 on the power play. Was that good?
Well done.
I know.
Well done. Gold star.
Perfect. I could have won that $2,000 Canadore tuition. Wow.
You don't need it.
I know. My math is on point.
So the Battalion win the draw inside the Bulldog zone. Back to the blue line. Nelson across to the near side. That's Petrov with it. Petrov holding it. Sends it to the far side. Jackson's there. Sends it to Petrov. One-timer coming in, and Malbuff has made the save. 18:35 remaining in the third. 2-0 North Bay lead, and they have a minute 40 remaining on the power play.
Well, one of the things we haven't mentioned is the fact that Hamilton is not going to be in Hamilton next season. Of course, they play in First Ontario Place. Used to be Cops Coliseum. Originally, it was supposed to be an NHL rink. 19,000 is the capacity. It is an absolutely historic rink, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but yeah, they're going to be out of there for a couple of years.
They're also ending the season on a 5-game road trip. This is the 4th of those 5 games. They lost all 3 games last weekend. There's a pass to Nelson. The shot, it's stopped and sent down the ice. They lost in Sarnia, Saginaw, Flint, so the same road trip that the Battalion went on at the end of February.
The American road trip did not end well for the Battalion either, went 1-2.
That's right. So Hamilton trying to get back into the win column. They had previously won 5 in a row before that road trip. Petrov at the blue line, sends it down low to Romani. Back up high to the blue line, to the right side. Jackson's with it in the circle, sends it across to Nelson. Nelson at the top of the left circle, back to the right side, Jackson. Shot comes in, rebound chance! Nelson can't bury it! I don't know if Malbuff got a piece of it or if it went off the post, but Nelson was wide open and could not send that one into the net. Play continues as the power play remains in possession of the puck. It's Nelson to the right side to Petrov. Back up to Nelson, shot, scores, and there it is! The Battalion have a new all-time leader in points by defenseman in a single season, and his name is Ty Nelson.
Well, when you talk to him, he doesn't really seem like he cares too much about the records, as he's very much a team player. But that being said, I'm sure that's something that's on the back of his mind, and he only had 2 more games to get it, and that's a huge one. The classic power play Nelson goal, and that's where their power play all comes down. It's him and McDonald on those one-timers far away from the net by the circle, and again, what a classic shot from him, and a huge third goal to make it 3-0.
It makes it 3-0 here in the third. The 71st point by Ty Nelson, something that no one that's ever put on a Battalion uniform, either in Brampton or North Bay, has ever done as a defenseman. Of course, for a long time, defensemen weren't really looked at as an option to be part of the offense as much under the old regime, so maybe not surprising that now under the new regime, someone breaks the record in just his second year.
But I still think if Nelson was in that Butler, like, I think his game wouldn't change that much. I don't think he has too good of a shot. He's probably the best shot I can think of since Kyle Wood.
Yeah, certainly since the Battalion moved to North Bay, that's for sure.
Yes, I should have clarified. Yeah.
So North Bay up 3-0 over the Bulldogs here in the third period. And Zito sends it up ahead to Wakely. Wakely moving through the middle, can't get the shot off. And the Bulldogs take it away from him and get it out to the neutral zone. Jack-Eye and Wakely got tangled up behind the play. And then the Bulldogs moved it into the offensive zone. And a slash is being called against the North Bay Battalion as Hislop got a little too aggressive on the back check.
Yeah, it looks like it was Brownie's who got his stick knocked off his place. But if we go quickly back to the Hamilton thing, very interesting where they're going. As the former Cops Coliseum, if people remember when the Bulldogs used to be an American Hockey League team, now called First Ontario Place, they're going to be in Brantford for a couple of years, which is going to be interesting. But you got to think that obviously a very old arena, it's decades old, and it's going to be nice once you get kind of renovated. But yeah, that's imagine getting to play your OHL games in a 19,000 person stadium.
Yeah,
that would be something else. We talked Memorial Gardens, only a few thousand people. I think it's about 6,000, I think, for total capacity. So that's huge.
More with the shot. Again, the Bulldogs now on the power play, but the Battalion pick it up and clear it down the ice. 16 minutes to play in the third period. It's a 3-0 game for the North Bay Battalion. And they've got 1:35 to kill on this penalty kill. It's the fourth of the game, fourth power play of the game for the Hamilton Bulldogs. And the Bulldogs are just having a difficult go of it here, just trying to get the puck moved into the zone. Interesting stat for tonight. Hamilton has been better in the faceoff circle than the Battalion have. 19-17 in that category, so not by much, but always interesting to know who's starting with the puck more often.
This is something that we see a lot from the Battalion power play, is just an inability to get the puck up the neutral zone and getting kind of that power play set up. And the Battalion at this point have wasted a minute of this power play on the Bulldogs.
The puck has stayed on the Bulldogs side of center ice.
How often do you see that?
Panwar, and that was something else I was going to point out. The Panwar-Lardis line has had a couple of chances, but they have not looked dominant as they have throughout much of the second half of the season.
And those are the breadwinners for the Bulldogs when it comes to points. Both of them over 60 points in the year. The next closest player for Hamilton when it comes to points is Dorian Donovan, who has 45 in 55 games.
Dorian is not in the lineup tonight, is he?
I do not. I think he's one of those. I think he's one of the people who are.
One of the 7 scratches tonight for the Bulldogs as North Bay figure the puck again. Pamwar, 19 goals and 30 assists.
You are correct. Donovan is not playing tonight.
In his 32 games played with the Bulldogs, he was scoreless in 3 games against the Battalion as a member of the Petes this year. He had 2 assists in his 1 game for the Bulldogs against North Bay. That was in that last game they played back in January. Now they finally get it in the zone just as time expires on the penalty. And as it does, DiVincentis kicks the net off its moorings. And so that'll blow the play dead. So the Bulldogs did absolutely nothing with the puck on that 2-minute power play.
And I don't know if that speaks a lot to the Battalion penalty kill, but I think that's just more a lot of indecisiveness by the Bulldogs. They just kept trying to get somebody to momentum and get set up, and the Battalion just weren't letting them pass center ice. But you need to do something. You need to dump and chase. You need some way to get the puck in the offensive zone, and they just tried to keep going, and credit to the Battalion, they kind of just stopped them right at center ice.
The Bulldogs are one of the few teams that have a pretty decent record head-to-head against the North Bay Battalion. They're 2-1-0 against North Bay.
Again, if any team is kind of dangerous in that kind of 4th down to 8th place, I think Hamilton is the team you don't want to face in the playoffs.
I think I have to agree with that, especially looking at the schedule North Bay has had the last little while. They've been playing the teams that are in that tier of the conference, let's say. And I think the Bulldogs have looked the most dangerous, although they trail right now 3-0 with 13:15 to go in this 3rd period. And the Bulldogs now trying to move the puck down the ice into the attacking zone. A couple of guys being shoved hard against the boards. Still haven't seen Kyle McDonald for the Battalion since the 2nd period. Romani finds the puck on the boards, moves it out, plays it back to Winslow. Down the left wing side for Van Steensel coming into the zone. Van Steensel plays it up ahead to Romani, skating towards the net. Drops it back to Wakely right on the doorstep, but he can't bury it. Lifted it just too high. Now there's a chance from the right side circle. That shot comes in, and that one goes wide. How many times have we seen the Battalion do that shot tonight where they've lifted it over the crossbar? Now on the counterattack, here come the Bulldogs, shot in on DiVincentis, and he makes a save. Hislop picks it up, carries it to the far side boards, sends it back behind the net. Christopoulos chasing it down the left wing boards, and he gets it up and over the head of everybody and sends it into the Bulldog zone. 12:15 to play. North Bay head 3-0. The Bulldogs dump it into the North Bay zone. Chase into the far side corner. Christopoulos battling Patrick with Patrick Thomas with it. The puck comes off the boards into the middle of the ice, and North Bay trying to knock it away. But getting the puck back is Lardis. He takes a shot that's stopped in front by the defender Christopoulos, and then he chips it off the glass and sends it down the ice, where Procession will then dump it into the Bulldog zone. 11:45 to play in the 3rd period. 3-0 North Bay lead. The Bulldogs breaking out of their own end again. No, they'll send it all the way down the ice. Okay, I guess it touched somebody in center at the center ice, and that denies the icing call. So North Bay now with the puck, trying to bring it out. Moving it towards their own goal line now. Nelson didn't have a lane. Now he'll turn back. Ty Nelson of the Battalion will move it forward. Gets it up over the blue line. And that's where the Bulldogs will take over. Ty Nelson with that 3rd goal of the game for the Battalion, his 23rd of the season.
It always brings me back to that one goal that was disallowed earlier on last month. That would have given him that 23rd goal.
There's a shot off the side of the net, and it's stopped by Malbuff. So 73 points is the record for the amount of points that a defenseman has scored in a single season in a Battalion uniform. And again, Ty Nelson with 2 assists in the last game tied the record. And then he gets the power play goal to break it.
And it'll be interesting, too, to see what happens if the Battalion win this game, because now that makes the last two games, technically on your point, meaningless. The Mississauga game might depend who you face in round one, but if McDonald doesn't come back in this game, I don't think he's going to make that trip to Niagara. I don't see a need to, but you can also start resting some of these guys too.
That's right. Bloom chasing the puck down the left wing side. Puts it in front of the net to Wakely. Wakely dishes it off to the right side, but Zito could not get control of it, and that will allow the Bulldogs to move it down the ice on the counterattack. Here comes Brown in, makes a move, gets towards the front of the net, and the save is made by DiVincentis. The puck comes to the near side blue line. Moore keeps it in for the Bulldogs, sends it off the glass, off the back of DiVincentis, and then as it ended up in the slot, Brostowski was able to steer that away, and the Battalion moved the puck down the ice. Bloom over the blue line, drops it back to Wakely. Wakely sends it along the end boards, but that's picked up by more of the Bulldogs, and the Battalion will get a line change in, and that will allow the Bulldogs to hold the puck behind the net. 9:50 to play in the third period. 3-0 North Bay lead.
So this is the exact kind of hockey that the Battalion need to play in the playoffs. Is Hamilton's not playing a bad game. It's just the Battalion are coming up to play defensively.
They have held the Bulldogs to, again, just 2 shots in this period. 14 total, and the Battalion bring the puck right back in. Here comes Petrov down the left wing, and the shot is stopped. He gets his own rebound behind the net, finds Erdl. Erdl to the point to Hislop. Cross to the right side, shot comes in, stopped in front by Malbuff. Goes to the far side boards, and it's picked up on the near side by Lardis, and he will dump it down the ice. In behind the blue line, that is Thomas. Gets checked by Christopoulos, and that allows North Bay to get the puck out of the zone. Petrov tried to feed it up ahead to look like Jackson going in, but he can't get the puck to him. And the Bulldogs go the other way, but they will go offside. Halfway through the third period, it's 3-0 North Bay on the goal by Ty Nelson, and we'll take a break and be right back.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news, or access the Alumni Job Portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
Well, Derek, in front of 3,558 fans, Ty Nelson has set the record for points by a defenseman in a single season. I don't know if Derek was able to hear me. Derek, and so Ty Nelson getting recognized for his effort here by the crowd, as it's announced by PA announcer Bob Coles that he's broken the record. Obviously, that's the goal he's been looking for all game.
Oh, he's been looking for that goal for quite some time now. He's kind of been on a couple of game streak without getting a goal, and that one-timer from the point is very unstoppable, as we've seen there. As Nelson now with the single-season record of 73 points in a single season by any franchise Battalion defenseman. Quite the accomplishment, and well-deserving by such a great young man.
And certainly one that Seattle Kraken fans can't get enough of. It's awesome to connect with those fans. We know a lot of them have been following along what we've been doing all year, because they're going, hey, we can't wait till this guy
anything that has Nelson tagged in it, it's they're all over it. And, man, they're going to love this kid for a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll have to make a frontline trip out there to see him play a game at some point.
I don't think it'll be too long before he's playing games in the NHL consistently.
That's right. Puck coming down the ice. Romani with the shot on net, and a save made by the goaltender Malbuff. I was going to say we could make a whole weekend out of it. Hopefully there's a time that lines up where the Kraken are playing at the same time the Blue Jays are visiting the Mariners, but it might be tough. They don't really go out that way early in the season,
like August
right?
Maybe
or depending how long, depending how long Seattle stays in the playoff run, maybe. But maybe the Blue Jays go there with Joey Votto on their roster. That's something that we talked about on the 3-2 count this week, and that episode is available now. Just subscribe to the Frontline Podcast, and you'll get episodes of both the Frontline Podcast and the 3-2 count right to your phone.
I sent that to you guys, and you laughed at me. You said there's no way Joey Votto's going to be a Blue Jay, and I said there is a chance.
Sent it towards the Hamilton net, and Malbuff makes a save. Rebound comes out to Brostowski, gets some room, and the shot goes off a stick. Oh, no, it doesn't go over the glass. It stays in play in the corner. North Bay get it back, but they turn it over in the middle of the zone, and it's carried out by Shirk. 7:50 to play in the period. Hamilton turned the puck over. North Bay go the other way. Tarasevich Down the right wing for Erdl. He tries to play it back to the middle, but it's out of the reach of Tarasevich and picked up by Shirk. 3-0 North Bay lead in the third. As Shirk brings it through the neutral zone. Dumping it in off the end boards, picked up behind the net by Winslow, but Shirk follows that dump in. Gets knocked around in the corner. Winslow gets the puck to Bristowski in the middle of the zone, and they clear it. It's Zito coming down over the blue line. Drops it back to Tarasevich. Shot coming in. And the save is made as Malbuff flashes the leather with 7:21 to play.
You know what's so impressive? We talk about the depth of this offense a lot and how they have 12 really viable forwards, but I think what's impressive is the fact that when guys like Jackson and Petrov and McDonald and Zito or not Zito, but Bloom, like some of the big high-scoring guys don't get on the score sheet. If you look at today, when you look at all the important goals that happened, it was Romani getting another goal. It was Brutowski getting a goal. You know,
His first in a Battalion uniform.
So it's the guys that aren't, well, like over 20 goals now for Romani, but it's not the main usual suspects getting these goals. It's this depth scoring, and we've seen that all year long. And I think when we get down to the playoffs and you get that goal, when you get Brutowski's first playoff goal with the Battalion, that stuff's going to come at key times, and that's going to be the difference between teams who are going to get to the OHL Memorial Cup, OHL Final Memorial Cup, and those who are going to get out in the second or third round.
North Bay shot from the point is blocked, and it's kicked out over the blue line. They pick it up and bring it right back in as Bloom drives down the middle, and the save is made by Malbuff. That's going to be his 33rd of the game with 7:01 to play. 3-0 North Bay lead.
Yeah, and again, this is the Battalion of. They've not played an absolutely perfect game. There are things that you can pick apart here and there, but for the most part, this is the exact kind of game that they need to go playing into the playoffs. And we talk about this 8-game win streak, and outside of that 15 minutes against Sudbury where they played really, really bad, and again, anybody would admit how bad that they played on that team. But if you look at the other 45 minutes of play, they played really solid. And again, it's the same thing here this evening.
Zito's shot from the point is stopped by Malbuff, so we'll reset and do it again with 6:58 to play. Hamilton wraps up their season tomorrow night as they visit Sudbury, and the Battalion will head down to Niagara on Saturday before they wrap up the regular season on Sunday here at Memorial Gardens against Mississauga. And
it's going to be a fun week next week, though. We got Mississauga. We got the playoffs starting for the Battalion. We have the Voodoos starting, which is going to be awesome against Hearst. That's going to be a really good series. That place is the Sportsplex is going to be rocking. Like, only about 400 or 500 people can fit in that place, but man, even normal regular season games, like that's a huge event. There's a lot of people there.
Absolutely. North Bay can't win the draw there. And it's picked up and carried out, sent down the ice. All the way into the North Bay zone. Again, both these teams have clinched a playoff spot, and Hamilton can still finish as high as 4th, but they would have to win this game and win their game tomorrow against Sudbury, and Peterborough would have to lose all 3 of their remaining games.
Yeah,
Hamilton could also finish 7th, though.
Yes.
They could finish anywhere between 4th and 7th. So if Mississauga and Sudbury win their last 3 games and Hamilton don't get any points,
I think that Sudbury-Hamilton game is going to be very, very crucial. For sure.
And the Bulldogs have pulled their netminder with
interesting.
6:23 to play in the third period.
You don't usually see this early. This is almost like when Patrick Waugh did this in the NHL.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a big deal. It kind of makes sense because, like, you need to get a goal right now, but
and the face-off's all the way in the
far
chance
zone. Of this working is extremely low.
There's a hard hit on the far side boards as Zito absolutely crushes Lucas Moore on the far side. The puck comes to the line. Now dumped in the far side corner. 6-on-5 attack continues. Panwar gets it to the blue line. Moore almost turns it over. He gets it back, sends it to the left side. Larder's shot comes in. It's deflected up and over the glass and out of play. 6 minutes on the clock. 3-0 North Bay lead in the third. 6-on-5 attack for the Bulldogs.
And you know what, that Jake McKee is the head coach of the Hamilton Bulldogs. To me, that shows him how important he thinks this game is. Again, you got to give a lot of credit to the Battalion. Only 14 shots on Dom as he's had a relatively easy night between the pipes, but it just shows again how important this game is for Hamilton. All of these teams want that 4th, 5th spot because that's going to be your best chance of getting into the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, right now, if the season ended the way the standings are right now, they'd have a date against Peterborough, and Peterborough would have home ice advantage in that lovely, lovely small shack that they call an ice rink down there.
If that's a series, though, that's going to be a really interesting series.
Yeah,
it's
it will.
Such an evenly matched
And
series.
again, Peterborough traded two of Hamilton's top scorers right now. They gave up on, well, not gave up, but they sent Panwar and Lardis to the Bulldogs. The Battalion get the puck out of the zone. Petrov towards the empty net, drops it back. The shot coming in from Romani. He scores, making a 2-goal game for Anthony Romani.
Again, Petrov deciding to pass this puck, gives it right to Romani, who pots the second of the game. And again, that's just kind of, I think that's a smart play as he has a man on him. He could have taken that shot, but I think it's more important for them to ice this game now. With 5:22 to go, the Battalion are pretty much have iced the Central Division at this point. And again, this is such a good game coming back from a poor performance against Sudbury in the final 15-20 minutes of that hockey game. To come back and to play this way against Hamilton, a team who's had your number this season, and even post-trade deadline, kind of had your number in the last game they played at home. This is a big win for them here this evening.
And how about Matvei Petrov, who leads the team coming into the game with 63 assists on the season. He already had 1 assist in the Ty Nelson goal earlier in this period. So now he's up to 65 on the year and 92 points. And I mean, everyone last year said, oh, this guy's the sniper, he's the finisher. Well, he has really evolved a secondary part of his game this season.
Yeah, and I think he's almost been too much of a passer at times. I'd like to see him take
that
some more
for
shots.
sure.
But yeah, it's going to be really fun to see him play in Edmonton because next year he's going to be an AHL. He's not going to be an overager. He's going to be in the AHL minimum. You have and I think he's going to see some Edmonton play. So enjoy him while we have him for the playoffs. He's a fun guy to watch, and the Battalion would not be where they are today if Matvei Petrov did not put this team on his back in January, February.
He was on quite a tear then, and the Battalion have been on a tear since the month of March began. They have not dropped a game since the calendar flipped over to the final month of the season. And with 4 minutes to go and a 4-0 lead over the Hamilton Bulldogs, they can really start counting down the seconds here and the minutes here. And they want to get out of it healthy as Earl gets hit.
And
in
Earl
the
just
boards.
coming back from an injury, too.
That's
You never
right.
want to see that go down again. As we're already kind of worried about McDonald.
Nelson gets poke checked and falls down as well, but he picks up the puck and sends it over to Lukin. Lukin sends it to the left side to Petrov, walking into the near side corner. Tries to set it up to Erdl. Erdl spins, fires, can't get it. Now it's down to Lukin, whose shot comes in. And that one goes up and over the glass and out of play. And how fitting would it have been if Lukin also found his name on the score sheet tonight when you got guys like Bristowski, Romani getting 2, and another defender and Nelson getting 1.
Yeah. It would have been nice, and it's going to be interesting to see what Ryan says after this game, Ryan Houlihan, the head coach of the Battalion, because he's got to be so happy with the last 20 minutes, well, with 3:31 to go, the last 16 and a half minutes that he's played. When you compare that, they've really played that shutdown game ever since the second period, really. And getting that third goal from Nelson was really just the dagger in the coffin.
Zito's shot just goes wide of the net. Bloom picks it up on the far side boards. Sends it to the goal line. That gets stopped. It comes back to the circle. A shot. That gets stopped. That puck goes out to the blue line. Hislop's there. His shot goes wide of the net. Circles around the boards, and the puck comes out to the neutral zone. In the neutral zone, it's picked up by Bloom. Overskates the puck, but now Christopoulos helps him out by getting control of it, sending it to the near side, and now up ahead as Zito pokes it into the Hamilton zone. But that's where the Bulldogs take over the play. It's Van Vliet with the puck for the Bulldogs, looking down his right wing side. Gets it up to O'Keefe behind the North Bay blue line. He skates it to the middle, tries to get the pass off. That almost didn't work, almost turned it over, but Hamilton get the puck back very quickly, and they send it back the other way as it's Noah Nelson who tips it and dumps it into the North Bay zone. And DiVincentis is run into by Mason Ray, and Hislop has thrown Ray into the glass, and now everybody's getting involved on the far side. A couple of punches being thrown. No one's dropped the gloves, though, but not a great play there by Mason Ray.
Yeah, kind of interesting. It didn't really look like they ran into each other because they just kind of went in. I don't know how malicious that was from Ray, but I wonder what his father's thinking there on the bench.
Oh, there's a bit of a smile there from him. going, what were you thinking, buddy?
Yeah, well, it looks like the Battalion.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be happy either. You know, this is a game that Hamilton doesn't have a huge chance to come back in.
Yep.
And you have a young guy going and knocking down your number one netminder.
The best goalie in the OHL right now.
Yeah, the best goalie in the OHL. You're right.
What would you do if you're the Battalion and you lose Dom?
And now
That's the,
it looked like Razor was chuckling about it a little bit on the bench there.
I think probably mostly because Dom's okay, but
yes.
What would you do if you're the Battalion and you get into a situation where you don't have DiVincentis?
Yep.
Especially in a game that is effectively meaningless at this point with 2:31 to go. So I'm sure Dom, of course, we know how in the zone that he gets, especially when you hear his teammates talk about him. You can't even approach him like most of the time during game day.
That's right.
And you can just imagine how heated he probably feels. And I'm sure if you got his unsolicited thoughts after this game, he would tell you exactly what we'd feel, but I feel you might need a bleep button or something to keep it PG. But good thing is he's all good.
So Mason Ray in the box for the next for the next minute 45, and there's 2:15 left on the clock as the Battalion lead 4-0. With 40 shots on net, they've got the extra attacker out there for the 5th time this game. They're 1 for 4 on the power play. The puck is controlled by Jackson. Across to the left side, it's Nelson. Sending it back to Jackson on the right side, teeing it up to Petrov. Slap pass over to Nelson, shot coming in! And it's stopped by Malbuff with 1:51 to play.
Well, again, we talked about how happy you have to be if you're the Battalion right now. They've absolutely dominated this game. There's only been a handful of times where Hamilton has had any sort of momentum, and again, so far, only 14 shots on net on DiVincentis. This is one of the lowest shot games that we've seen recently from the Battalion here at home. As generally, they've had, again, that third period is just something they've struggled to play a full 60 minutes. And on this winning streak, outside of, again, against the game against Sudbury and maybe the Peterborough game, they've really played full, complete 60-minute hockey games. And that's probably the biggest takeaway from this game here.
Into the middle, the shot goes off the blocker of Malbuff and stays out of the net. Back to the point. Christopoulos to the left side. Hislop. Christopoulos back to Hislop at the point. Across to the right side, it's Christopoulos. Back to the left side, Hislop. Shot comes in. It's stopped by Malbuff. Just playing pitch and catch with it at the blue line.
Yeah.
47 seconds remaining in the penalty to Ray. 1:18 remaining in the third period. 4-0 North Bay.
Kind of interesting note, talking to a couple of guys, what my sources tell me is the Battalion would actually rather play Mississauga than play Sudbury in that first round because they feel like they play a better system against what Mississauga plays. Very interesting note. I would have thought they would have rather played Sudbury. But yeah, Mississauga apparently is the team that, if they could choose, is the team they'd rather face in that first round.
Shot coming in from Hislop. It's stopped by Malbuff and kicked into the far side corner. Hislop picks it back up. In behind the net procession, around to Tarasevic. 1 minute to go. And the Battalion, less than 60 seconds away now as the puck is frozen from accomplishing their first goal of the season, and that is to win the Central Division.
Well, it starts with Central Division, but again, I cannot see any of this team being happy with anything less than an OHL final appearance, a deep run, if anything, and of course, getting to that Memorial Cup and getting to go out to play in BC for a great chance at winning a Memorial Cup. Wouldn't that be a great way for this team to finish off their career, as it's been a long time since North Bay has found themselves holding the OHL Cup.
Yeah, and I was just quickly checking the numbers. North Bay against Mississauga is 3-2 this year, 7-1 against Sudbury. They turn the puck over. It's a breakaway. Pamwar down the ice, the shot. It's stopped by DiVincentis. What a save by Dom, who is now just 25 seconds away from really shutting this thing down. The Battalion up 4-0. And we're back to 5-on-5 play as Mason Ray is out of the box. Battalion send the puck down the ice. 10 seconds to go. Ertl has it, centers it to Wakely. Takes a shot that misses. 5 seconds to go. And for a second straight season, the North Bay Battalion are Central Division champions. They go back-to-back in 22-23. and will bring another banner to the rafters at Memorial Gardens.
Well, how about DiVincentis, his third shutout in 6 games? How often do you hear that? What an absolute, probably the easiest shutout he's ever had with 15 shots, but you got to be impressive with that. Battalion, a 60-minute game, and they're going to come away with a huge 4-0 victory. And now, what that means, Niagara's game is meaningless. You can use your roster appropriately. Mississauga could be important depending on how you want to line up that first round, but at the end of the day, you got to be very excited if you're the North Bay Battalion. What a great comeback after that kind of disappointing finish against Sudbury.
Absolutely, and they still haven't lost in the month of March.
Yep.
And like you said, that's his third shutout in 6 games for DiVincentis. It's his 4th shutout since February 24th.
Yep.
What a month this has been for the North Bay Battalion in net. And I was just going to bring up another stat. They, coming into this game, outscored their opponents 34-11 in the month. So add 4 to that, they're up to 38 goals, 11 goals against, and almost half of those came in the loss to Sudbury.
Yeah.
What a run the Battalion have been on as they are looking to continue it into the postseason. But before we get there, there's 2 more games left for the North Bay Battalion. They will play Saturday night in Niagara, and then they'll be back home on Sunday to wrap things up against Mississauga. We'll be right back to wrap things up here from Memorial Gardens, the La Herda Imports postgame show coming up right after this. You're watching the Frontline broadcast right here on YouTube, presented by Average Joe's.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items, or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcast.
And we welcome you back here to the Battalion postgame as the North Bay Battalion capture the Central Division title for the 2nd straight year as they come away with a 4-0 victory over the Hamilton Bulldogs. Dom DiVincentis picking up his 3rd shutout in 6 games. He's only given up 6 goals in that time, 3 of them coming up against Peterborough as he faces 15 shots and stops the door en route to one of the easier shutouts of his career. If we look at the scoring summary, Ty Nelson started things off in the 3rd period on the power play from Petrov and Jackson at 2:35. And then, of course, Anthony Romani after Hamilton. Jake McKee, the head coach, pulled Malbeuf very early at about the 6.5 mark. Romani scores the empty netter from Petrov and Christopoulos at 14:38. In terms of penalties, Lawson Shirk went off for high sticking at the 1:05 mark of the third period. Then Braden Hislop went off just over 2.5 minutes later for slashing at 3:39. And then Mason Ray got an interference call on DiVincentis at 17:29. Shots on the period were a total of 21 for North Bay, 3 for Hamilton, for a total of 44 for the Battalion and 15 for the Hamilton Bulldogs. And then what a game as we take a look ahead. No action here on the weekend as the Voodoos are going to be starting their playoff stretch next week against the Hearst Lumberjacks in the middle of the week. The next game we'll be bringing you will be on Sunday against Mississauga, as the Battalion will be coming off a Saturday game against the Niagara Ice Dogs. The Mississauga game on the 26th on that Sunday will be the final game of the regular season, and potentially the Battalion will have their first round matchup fate in hand, depending on how that game goes, as well, as they have now officially clinched second place in the Eastern Conference with their win here tonight. So again, for everybody here, for Matthew Sukram, for Derek Lindemann, and our producer Ben Long, I'm Ben Sargent saying have a great night, and we'll see you Sunday. And as always, keep your eye on the front line.
Tonight's 3 Stars is brought to you by Dave's Automotive Services, 411 Airport Road in North Bay. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect from Dave's. Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.